They don't have a problem with Modi's or BJP's Hindutva politics as much. Because they try to emulate it, they try to play the soft Hindutva card themselves. The real problem with Modi is that Modi comes from no political background.
The Congress Karyakartas, they had more attitude than the Gandhi family themselves. In a house of 403 MLAs, you have 7 MLAs. 7. And that too after a Gathbandhan with Samajwadi. And people used to make fun of us, जब हम पहली बार विधायक बने थे कि अरे तुम कांग्रेस वाले तो एक इनोवा में चले जाया करो ना.
नहीं, पर अब इनोवा से रिक्शा की स्थिति में आ चुके हैं.
नहीं, स्कूटर 2 हैं अब 2 विधायक.
कोई राजा रंग को फोन करता है. अब सुनिए, इनके 15 सीएम निकल गए. इनको फोन जब नहीं गया तो आदित्य और मेरे जैसे लोगों को कहां से फोन आने वाला है. ताउम्र कांग्रेस यही गलती करती रही. धूल चेहरे पर थी, कांग्रेस आईना साफ करती.
What rather surprised me, perhaps I didn't realize it upon the time of joining the Congress party, is how much of a quote-unquote, anti-Hindu stance a lot of times they would take.
अगर मुझे कल मोदी जी या नड्डा जी बोलेंगे कि तुम मुस्लिम हो इसलिए हम तुम्हें बना रहे हैं तो मैं रिजेक्ट कर दूंगा. If they make me only because I am Muslim, then I will say कि सर ये तो कांग्रेस भी करती थी. मांगा मुसलमान दिया सलमान.
The Congress party and the Communist Party were the only ones जिन्होंने स्पष्टता मना कर दिया. Other people, at least they had the suhoor to be like, देखिए हम क्योंकि सब परिवार आना चाहते हैं तो हम बाद में जाएंगे.
I am a proud Muslim, but I don't think that we should be talking about eliminating Hinduism. We should not be talking about राम जी का अस्तित्व है या नहीं है. माइनॉरिटी की परिभाषा मुस्लिम नहीं है सिर्फ. माइनॉरिटी में सिख भी आते हैं, जैन भी आते हैं, पारसी भी आते हैं, बुद्धिस्ट भी आते हैं.
The largest minority are Muslims.
मैं तो देखता हूँ कि सेकंड लार्जेस्ट मेजॉरिटी है हम.
Priyanka Gandhi says to my ex-husband, you talk smack about her. चरित्र पर, ठीक है ना, about how she is and this and that and I'll give you a ticket.
जीशान को बोला 10 किलो घटा के और तब राहुल जी से मिलने मिलेगा. बताइए, बेचारा वो जीशान बोल रहा है कि he said to ANI only.
Namaste, Jai Hind. Welcome to another edition of the ANI podcast with Smita Prakash. Thank you for liking and subscribing to the channel and for sharing these conversations with people who you think will benefit from listening into these. Today my guests are Shehzad Poonawalla and Aditi Singh. Both were in the Congress party but left the grand old party to join the BJP. I spoke with the two of them to understand why is it that they did not feel that they had a political future in a party which was then led by a youth leader, Rahul Gandhi, and they preferred to move to the BJP where the leadership is considered rigid and stodgy. Shehzad you see on TV debates almost every day. Aditi is the MLA from Rai Bareli, which was Sonia Gandhi's Lok Sabha constituency. Thank you, Shehzad. Thank you, Aditi, for being part of the podcast. It's so nice to have Yuva Netas, actual Yuva Netas, in the podcast. So may I call you by your first names?
Please do.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
And thank you for having us, Smita. And, we've been consuming your podcasts on a daily basis. And thank you for having us. We feel very privileged.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much. Thanks a lot. For the benefit of our viewers who might think that अरे शहजाद है तो इस तरफ कोई कांग्रेस समर्थक क्यों नहीं है, just to let them know that this is not a TV debate, so this is just going to be genial conversation, and basically I want to know I want to know your reasons why as young leaders you wanted to leave a party which was led at that time by somebody who was considered a youth leader, a Yuva Neta. So both of you have your individual reasons for doing that, and you especially, Aditi, because you fought an election. You fought and you were considered close to the Gandhi family. So you have your reason, Shehzad, you have your reason. But I'll begin with Shehzad because Shehzad left first. So Shehzad, most people do know about, those who know the reasons why it happened. But there are also people who live abroad, some of our young viewers and listeners who have just joined into listening or watching Indian politics. To them, could you explain that what were the circumstances when it happened and how difficult was it to leave the Congress party?
See, first of all, understand where I was coming from. In my family, nobody was in politics. Dur tak. My community also very less involvement in politics as such. We are a business community, most of the people. And therefore, for a person like me, when I was in school, 15, 16, I was very influenced by what I read in textbooks about the contribution of Congress party towards the freedom struggle, etc. And I was very influenced by that. And I used to come to Delhi, every 6 months I would save my pocket money, and then I would take one room in Arjun Nagar, which is a slightly cheaper area to live in. I would take the 610 Blue Line bus, and from there it used to be a 10 rupee ticket. I used to go to the Janpat Road station, bus stop, and from there I used to walk to Chaubis Akbar Road. And you know who used to drop me back? Tom Vadakkanji. He was the secretary of the AICC media department for the longest time. Tom Ji will also confirm the story.
24 Akbar Road being the Congress
headquarters. Now, I started off from there, and the idea was to be part of a party to serve the nation through the instrument of the party. But over a period of time, I figured that the practical experience was that the parivar was the party. In BJP, the party is the parivar. Here the parivar had become the party, and either you have to accept and do everything that the parivar says, you have to not seek any accountability from them, you have to say that it is only parivar, not performance, that will matter, you have to give merit a byway, and that's the only way you can survive, through sycophancy.
But didn't you know that, Shehzad? Everybody knew that, right? Everybody who joined the Congress party, who was born into the Congress party, knew that it is a Gandhi family-led party.
In our families also, we all know that something is not right. We don't leave our families the first moment. We try to improve the things inside the family. We try to improve the things inside our business. We don't leave any system or organization or our association in the first go. We know that there are some faults. We hope that it will change. Rahul ji, when he came in 2004, and then he subsequently became General Secretary, I think in 2009, in charge of Youth Congress and NSUI, he had promised us.
You were already in the Congress.
I was in the Congress. I was in NSUI, then I was in the Congress. I was one of the youngest office bearers of NSUI. I was Vice President of the Pune City Wing also.
What was your first meeting with Rahul Gandhi like?
The first meeting was during the time when he was trying to revolutionize the Indian Youth Congress. He had taken that up as an assignment. And at that time, he had told us that, look, I am going to give entry to people who have no family backgrounds. Yeah. You don't need to have money power to be a part of the system. It's going to be a completely transparent elected system. That's what he had assured us. We obviously gave him time to put that system in place. But by the end of it, the Youth Congress became more dominated by Namdars. So every state president was either the son or daughter of some politician or some neta. And the entire system had become more oriented towards having papas or mummies, friends, sons and daughters.
So was he not in control of who's going to occupy
No, he was
those
absolutely
positions?
in control. He was absolutely in control, and this is the problem. I feel after my various interactions with Rahul and people around him, that he prefers to have people who have been friends with his father or who have been friends with his family in positions around him and in positions of power. He's, for the lack of a better word, he's very entitled in his thinking and he's very elitist. I'll give you an example. I was, I think, second or third who left after Hemanta ji. The manner in which he treated Hemanta, because Hemanta ji does not have, like me, he did not have a family background in politics. Hemanta ji is a self-made man. As opposed to a Gaurav Gogoi, whom Rahul will have a different respect for because Tarun ji and Rajiv ji or Tarun ji and Sonia ji are close. So he has a different orientation. Even if you see people around him, they are sons and daughters of somebody whom he relies on. And therefore, I think he has actually got a sense of entitlement and a sense of arrogance that I come from a particular lineage, pedigree. These people also have a similar pedigree to me. You people are not in the same pedigree. So I can bestow something upon you, but he doesn't really mean it. And therefore, after spending a lot of time, 2017, cutting short the story, in 2017, my only request was when they were trying to coronate him, and I use this word very consciously, they were going to coronate him as the president. I told the party, confidentially within the party platform, that look, there should be an election. It should be a free and fair election. It should be an election as mandated by the Congress constitution, which means that the delegates also have to be elected. It can't just be that, the delegates are selected by Sonia ji's people and then obviously they will elect Rahul Gandhi. So it has to be a transparent election, which didn't happen even in Khadge ji's case. Shashi Tharoor ji says that there were a lot of things left to be desired. So instead of having an election, they had a coronation. And that's when I said that, look, this party is unwilling to put in place principles it advocates elsewhere. It says Loktantra in the entire country, but अपने आप को लोकतंत्र मुक्त करके रखा है. मतलब this is the irony कि they want लोकतंत्र in the country. They say मोदी जी लोकतंत्र को बर्बाद कर रहे हैं, पर अपनी पार्टी में लोकतंत्र नहीं चाहिए. Let me just give you one example. From 1978 to 2022, that is 44 years, one family has been at the helm of affairs of Congress, Sonia ji, Rahul ji, Indira ji, Rajiv ji, for 38 years, 38, 39 years, except for 2-3 years of Narasimha Rao ji and 2-3 years of Sitaram Kesi, and we all know what they did to Sitaram Kesi. In the same 38-40 year period of 1982, 2022, 23, you have the BJP, which has had Vajpayee ji, Advani ji, Gadkari ji, Rajnath ji, Janak Krishnamurti ji, Bangaru Lakshman ji, Nadda ji, Amit Shah ji. These are at least 10 presidents. And therefore, the Congress party...
But when you got into the Congress,
Right.
this was already something that everybody knew and you also knew.
Of course I knew.
Right. So it wasn't as if these are two options open and...
Well, I was gullible to believe Rahul Gandhi. I was gullible that we gave him 5-7 years to put in place things that he promised, but he did not deliver, and he doesn't deliver. And apart from that, apart from not delivering...
Who brought you into the Congress? I'm asking
On
you
my
this
own.
because...
I'll tell you how I entered politics. I used to read about contributions of one family because the textbooks were also written in such a way that only one family was highlighted as the Karta Dharta of the entire Azadi Ka Andolan.
Yeah.
So you feel that this one family and the Congress party as an instrument has done everything for Azadi. Now, having read that, you feel inspired, and then I started doing student activism in college, in university.
Which is where?
Which is in Pune.
Okay.
I studied, brought up in Pune all my life. And when I finished my graduation in Pune, I had started joining the NSUI activities. I had also been, doing work for the NSUI. I thought that I should contribute more. So that's where I used to save up my pocket money, come to Delhi, work in the media department, and people appreciated my work at that time. Digvijay Singh ji, Tom Vadakkan ji, and others who were in the Congress party, they appreciated my work. They even thought that I should be the spokesperson of the party. Let me tell you this also. The Congress party in 2012-13 had a special trial for who should be spokespersons. And I was the best there as well. Some reports had also been published that there was an entire meritocratic system that was put in place to decide that on which aspects of spokesperson should be selected. Content, knowledge, body language, tone, tonality, how to speak, present. Despite me doing the best on that, Mr. Surjewala, lo and behold, his father was obviously in the Congress, and Ajay Makan, they were selected, and my name was chopped off. So that's the level to which anybody who has merit, who has performance, but not parivar, is sidelined within the Congress. And therefore,
was that
after
the last straw?
That was not the last straw. The last straw for me was in 2017, when after several attempts to try and get the Congress to course correct, I had also told Congress leaders that if we want to, I was in the Congress then, so I was saying if we want to at least get 100 seats against Prime Minister Modi, because Modi ji was declared as the candidate, we must get rid of two people completely, Rahul and Robert. And I think that was the last straw from their side, that ab ye nahi sahan ho payega. So this is the thing that culminated in me leaving the Congress, because ultimately the Congress was unwilling to change its system to a more democratic system, to a more performance-oriented meritocratic system, and it was unwilling to define what its ideological positions should be on issues. I am a proud Muslim, but I don't think that we should be talking about eliminating Hinduism. We should not be talking about Ram ji ka astitva hai ya nahi hai. And therefore I used to tell them that on these issues, let's have a strong position where we can't be questioned as appeasing, as being appeasers of a particular vote bank. They were unwilling to do that as well. And in the subsequent years, they have tried to course correct, but they have not done it genuinely. And therefore, the Congress party continues to be in the mess that it is.
Okay. So let me come back to you after I speak with
Sure.
Aditi, because many of the points that you say, Aditi, you are a second generation politician. Your father was in the Congress party. You were considered close to the Gandhi family. You have, if I may say, you've studied abroad, so you have a kind of an upper class image also. You were considered, because you're from Raebareli, you were considered extremely close to Sonia Gandhi, which because of her Lok Sabha constituency. So tell me what happened with you. Why did you get, where did the off button come on when it came to you?
So I'm actually, my father was of course into electoral politics, but my grandfather before him was very close to the Gandhis. And so many points that Shehzad just made resonate with me so much in terms of just the Jahapana, culture of the Congress party. And absolutely, because I came from a bit of a Congress family. They did eventually expel my father as well, kind of like, my father had the same fate that my friend here suffered for anti-party activities, quote unquote. And then after that, he continued to contest independently. And he also had nothing to do with the Congress party for a long time. But before that, and especially my grandfather and so on were quite close to Indira Gandhi, who certainly was a different leader, I want to say. Despite everything, she still, even at the helm of, at the peak of her power, when she was at the helm of affairs, she still found a way to stay a little connected to the ground, which is something that her kids and her successors missed completely. And that was a huge change. And that's a change that everybody sees in Raebareli and Amethi, which is why they did eventually go ahead and lose Amethi, is because they could not, be it Sonia Gandhi or be it Rahul Gandhi, could not maintain the same connect with the constituency.
But they voted them for so many elections.
Agreed, but
one after the other. And I think even when Smriti Irani went there for the first time, they didn't even know who she was. And it was like, we are going to be voting because there's a muscle memory. Hamesha humne vote kiya Gandhi family ko. You keep hearing this in Raebareli.
But then you keep seeing that in Raebareli also. Her Sonia Gandhi's margin has been decreasing. It's been diminishing election after election.
She won 1 lakh
1 lakh
or
something,
yeah.
jahan 5 lakh se jeeti thi.
Okay.
Now it's just been dwindling down, and Rahul Gandhi eventually just lost Amethi. So that's a different... personally speaking, so I came back to the country. I studied. I
went to Duke,
I went
right?
to Duke, yeah. So I got my master's in management studies from Duke. Came back and sort of wasn't thinking so much about politics at that point. I was quite young. But then my father got sick, as you know, and he was a cancer patient and spent quite a lot of time, in his treatments, and was getting treated in Singapore and so on. And cut to 2017. Pre-2017 is when our Vidhan Sabha election happened, and father at that point had completely passed on the baton ki bhai dekho meri tabiyat ab sahi nahi rehti, and I think you should contest. And at that time I was very lucky where almost every party was ready to offer me a ticket, my father being the sitting MLA for the last 5 terms. And Priyanka Gandhi approached me. I got a call from her office. I had to, I was asked to go meet her. And she was the one who inducted me into the party. And at that time, I hadn't met Sonia ji or Rahul ji at all, because I was abroad. I was studying and I was like doing whatever, other things.
Most people have not met Rahul even today in Congress.
I met him like really later on, by the way. I just had I also had no real inclination of...
I'm going to get to that, because there are many people who say that who were recruited by Priyanka Gandhi don't come in the what should I say? They are not the cherry on the cake for the Congress party. Those who are picked by Rahul Gandhi to join, they get the plum posting. So that's one thing that one has heard. I don't know about this because I'm no longer doing reporting for the Congress party. Those doors are shut for me.
Yeah.
But anyway, let me get to the point.
Yeah.
You guys would have inside stories.
Yeah. So anyway, I won my election. I won handsomely from a Congress ticket, and things were fine. I was a first-time legislator. More than party work, I was focused on my own constituency and learning how things work in Vidhan Sabha, and things were sort of fine. But eventually, when I started asking for more responsibility, it just I just didn't know who to talk to, and
Why? Priyanka wasn't around?
No, she did. I have to say she did give me the time of the day. Maybe because I was from her constituency and Lok Sabha elections were around the corner, and they did win from the highest margin from my constituency. Sonia ji, she won from almost double the margin from my constituency than she did from the other Vidhan Sabhas within the Lok Sabha sector. And what would happen, which I found very interesting, Smita, and keep in mind, my father is someone who won consecutively for 5 terms from Raebareli, independent from Congress ka gad and all that. Is that he was a very cadre-based man, right? He had his own sangathan, he had his own karyakartas. So I had seen a very different kind of politics, very grassroots, very jameen se jude hue. My father would call his BDCs and his pradhans all the time, and every time I'd go to his office, sab chai pee rahe ho. Matlab, so very, very connected to the ground, sort of a thing. And when I would say things to Priyanka Gandhi that, ma'am, I want to do this, और आप मुझे कोई छोटा सा मतलब महिला के जो प्रदेश अध्यक्ष होते हैं महिला वाले, तो कांग्रेस के यूपी में उन्होंने 4 बनाए instead of like 1 प्रदेश अध्यक्ष, they made 4. So I was like, आप मुझे उन 4 में से एक बेशक बना दें, I don't mind. And so she would be like, हाँ, yeah, why don't you go talk to XYZ, whoever, let's say, संगठन में किसी को कह दिया कि आप जाके शहजाद से बात कर लें, इससे बात कर लें, उससे बात कर लें. And, we'll take it from there. I get it. Okay, she's busy. And when I would try to talk to these people, be it in Priyanka Gandhi's office or be it in Rahul Gandhi's office at this point, those sort of karyakartas or PROs or whatever you want to call them, karyakarta the, essentially we are BJP karyakartas or the Congress karyakartas, they had more attitude than the Gandhi family themselves.
अच्छा, reflected glory.
Yeah, है. And I was like, ये अच्छी बात है. तो वो ही phone नहीं उठाते थे. It would take me longer to get in touch with some of these people who were supposed to, sort of line these things up for them. And they had more attitude. They wouldn't answer their calls. They wouldn't get back. So eventually, just the inefficiencies rattled me. I'm coming from a state where in a house of 403 MLAs, you have 7 MLAs. 7. And that too after a Gathbandhan with Samajwadi. 7 in a house of 403. And people used to make fun of us, जब हम पहली बार विधायक बने थे कि अरे तुम कांग्रेस वाले तो एक इनोवा में चले जाया करो ना. That's how,
yeah, okay.
the GOP, and here you are. So I joined the party at a time when it was already not in the center, certainly not in my state. And just how inefficient, and I would tell her a lot of things, it being her mother's constituency, that why don't you do this? Why don't you have a Pradhan Sammelan or Jan Pratinidhi Sammelan? And everything would be like, yeah. Everything was like, bilkul bahut acha idea hai. Never happened.
So where was the problem? Do you think?
पर अब इनोवा से रिक्शा की स्थिति में आ चुके हैं.
नहीं स्कूटर 2 हैं अब 2 विधायक हैं.
Really feel bad also,
No, but there's no reason to feel bad. And I have obviously you have preferred one Poonawalla over the other in the terms of appearances on your podcast. But he comes and or people from that ecosystem come and say, देखिए अगल बगल वाले ठीक नहीं हैं, इनके लेफ्ट लूनी एडवाइजर हैं और ऐसे हैं वैसे हैं. राहुल जी बड़े अच्छे हैं, बड़े एम्पैथेटिक हैं.
नहीं, वो तो मैं सुन चुकी हूँ कि दिल के अच्छे हैं.
I want to decode this. First of all, a leader is one who knows who will be around him, who surround him, and it is the leader's pick. Today, Prime Minister Modi, if he has a Ashwini Vaishnav, if he has a Amit Shah ji, if he has a Nadda ji to run the party, that is Modi ji's credit. If he had inefficient people, that would go on Modi ji's discredit. Yeah. So you can't absolve the leader by saying कि leader बड़ा अच्छा है, पर इसके इर्द-गिर्द जो लोग हैं, इर्द-गिर्द के लोग यही चुनते हैं.
The onus is on the leader end of the day.
दूसरी बात, empathetic. Let me please ask you, this man says mohabbat ki dukaan in every speech. That's the one line they have given him for the last 6-8 months. If he really believes in mohabbat ki dukaan, then why make such obnoxious commentary on the Prime Minister's family? Is this empathy? You take no action on them. Your allies have made such horrendous remarks. Your party has come out and justified it. Or the latest one being on Prime Minister's parivar. The latest being about what the Prime Minister should have done.
When you both were in the Congress, at that time, the politics was not as bitter as it's now. That's what I think. Rahul Gandhi and Priyanka did not make these kind of vicious comments against Modi. I remember it being against Smriti, but not so much against...
स्मिता जी, ये दुष्प्रचार और भ्रम है कि 2014 के बाद हमारी पॉलिटिक्स इतनी एक्रोमोनियस हुई है. Please tell me who got up and called वाजपेयी जी. इतने सौम्य व्यक्ति को गद्दार किसने बोला था पार्लियामेंट में? वाजपेयी जी को गद्दार बोला गया है पार्लियामेंट में. ये तब तो बीजेपी कहीं नहीं थी ना इतने
Yeah, when
स्तर
he
पे।
turned around and said that.
Also, Smita ji, in the 2019 Congress campaign, the slogan, like the unofficial,
मौत का सौदागर also was there in
चौकीदार चोर
2014.
है. Who can forget that?
Yeah.
बसों से
That's
चिल्लाना,
what I'm
रैलीज
saying
में
that-
चिल्लाना, चौकीदार चोर है.
So no, what I was saying
that
was
was in
that
19.
that these kind of comments used to
Yeah.
be said by the Congress, yes, but one never saw the Gandhi family dirtying their hands or using slurs in their conversations. It was somehow कि इनको keep them away from the
इनको महफूज रखो.
हाँ.
And
Don't get them
yeah.
dirty, their hands dirty.
Smita
But
ji,
मौत
it
का
relates-
सौदागर changed it.
It relates
And
to what
Chowkidar.
I have been saying, that Rahul ji and his family think that they are entitled, that this country owes them everything. That's why they keep invoking also कि मेरी दादी शहीद हुई, मेरे पिताजी शहीद हुए. They think that it is the country's duty now, because of the past contributions, alleged or otherwise, that we have to now make Rahul Gandhi the Prime Minister, or else Rahul Gandhi is entitled to judge the wisdom of 140 crore Indians which have chosen a chaiwala as the Prime Minister. They don't, you know what the problem with Modi is? The biggest
Several.
the biggest problem with Modi. Look, they don't have a problem with Modi's or BJP's Hindutva politics as much. Because they try to emulate it, they try to play the soft Hindutva card themselves. The real problem with Modi is that Modi comes from no political background. That scares them. They cannot fathom that how can this country not elect my family to power and elect this man who used to sell tea at a Vadnagar ka railway
But
station.
you know, like
that is their problem.
Shehzad, let me come to Aditi. This thing of them, the Gandhi family or the Congress party not being able to accept people who are not to the manner born, but Uttar Pradesh mein Gathbandhan is with a Mulayam Singh Yadav, who comes, who doesn't
Son of
come
the soil
from,
and so on.
from some kind of an elitist background. How come that is acceptable to them? They also made Sitaram Kesri, yes, granted what happened to him later, but there have been so many people in the Congress party considered close to Sonia Gandhi, Rajiv Gandhi, all of them who were not from very elitist background. Where did that change?
That's exactly like what Shehzad said, is as long as you're a sycophant, ठीक है आप नहीं होंगे राजनीतिक परिवार
But
से.
कहाँ मुलायम सिंह जी
फिर-
कहाँ sycophant?
They need Mulayam Singh. What did Smriti Irani just say right now in Amethi? I don't know if you guys saw that or not. I think it was like a few days ago in an interview. Ki stop using Samajwadi Party as a crutch. दम है तो अकेले, and I would say this as a Raebareli wala also, दम है तो अकेले लड़िए.
नहीं स्मिता जी,
They need Samajwadi Party more than Samajwadi Party needs them. Imagine like in the Gathbandhan they're getting 13 seats, including Raebareli and Amethi. The GOP reduced to 13 seats in Uttar Pradesh. They have one Lok Sabha. They won one Lok Sabha in a house of 80 seats in a state that gives जहाँ से 80 सांसद हम भेजते हैं संसद में. In a house of 403 MLAs, they have 2 MLAs. उनमें से एक तो मुझे accidentally लगता
स्मिता
है.
जी, मजबूरी में तो इंसान, वो अभी कहावत है तो इसको डायरेक्टली कोट अनकोट ना कीजिए, गधे को भी बाप
गधे
बनाता
को भी
है.
बाप.
दूसरी बात, मैं
या.
किसी के बारे में नहीं बोल रहा, मैं क्लैरिफाई कर रहा हूँ वरना वो कट हो जाएगी क्लिप. दूसरी बात, आप क्या कह रही हैं? इनका गठबंधन जो है इंडी, ये इंडी गठबंधन पारिवारिक दलों का अलायंस है. पीडीए का मतलब पारिवारिक दलों का अलायंस. आप सोचिए ना, मुलायम परिवार, लालू परिवार, शरद परिवार, स्टालिन परिवार, सोनिया परिवार, यही तो इंडी गठबंधन है. इसके अलावा क्या है इंडी
Shehzad,
गठबंधन?
I get what you're
ये
saying.
7 परिवारों का गठबंधन है बस.
You know, all the BJP always says, and I'm being the devil's advocate out here. मुझे अभी सारे वो comments में आएंगे YouTube के comments में, we knew it, you are a कांग्रेसी, दिल से कांग्रेसी हैं आप.
नहीं, आप पत्रकार धर्म निभा रही हैं.
So I'm just, because both of you are from the BJP, hence
Yeah.
I'm just playing the devil's advocate out here, that the BJP keeps talking about parivarvad, but when I go out on the ground, believe me, when I talk to people, and I talk to all sections of people, you know, when I go for my coverages for election related, Parivarvad is not considered an issue with many people not the new voters. The new voters have bought into the BJP thing that baki but the older voters, they are like, it's there in every profession. तो अगर यहाँ पे आ गई तो क्या हुआ? You know, like, for the life of me, I couldn't understand when I used to go to Uttar Pradesh, why is Parivarvad not an issue for the Samajwadi Party voters, but Parivarvad is an issue for those who are voting for Mayawati. You know, so they buy her argument about Parivarvad and when she criticizes the Yadav family. So there's a dichotomy. Explain Uttar Pradesh to me.
So how I see it is like sometimes you just as far as Parivarvad is concerned, look, my take on it is eventually you cannot keep a good man down. You can be from XYZ family, if you're not a good leader in yourself, you will lose. मैं उस क्षेत्र से आती हूँ जहाँ से इंदिरा गांधी हारी हैं. मुझसे भी बहुत पूछा जाता है. You know, people ask me all the time, and oh, but you know, your father. I'm like, firstly, my father isn't around anymore. I won my second election after my father passed, without my father. और हम उस क्षेत्र से आते हैं जहाँ इंदिरा गांधी भी हारी थी. तो ये परिवारवाद का ठप्पा पहली बात तो मुझ पे मत लगाओ. Second thing, Smita, certain things have to be done for inter-party democracy. Even if you as a voter may or may not have a problem with it, but someone like a Shehzad, who is a first generation kid, made it by himself, you know, he deserves the chance that otherwise would have probably been given to some nepotistic kid. So certain things are done not necessarily only for the votes, but to maintain semblance within the party and inter-party democracy, what we're talking about, right? So...
But let me rewind to that, how we started. I want to know that when you started considering that you want to leave the Congress, did anybody reach out to you and say, mat jao? Like, did an Ahmed Patel say that, mat jao? Or did anybody reach out of consequence? You know, I mean, I'm not talking about your generation politician, but anybody senior who felt that talent ko bahar nahi jaane dena chahiye. Did anybody reach out?
No, in fact, they were very eager that isko jaldi se bhagao. क्योंकि I'll tell you, कांग्रेस आज की तारीख में पार्टी नहीं है. मैं हिंदी बोल सकता हूँ. ये हिंदी में ही बोला जा सकता है.
हिंदी में ही बोलो.
कांग्रेस एक कबीला है. आपको कबीला का कॉन्सेप्ट पता है? अफगानिस्तान में कबीले होते थे. तो बड़ा कबीला होता है, उसमें कोई डेमोक्रेटिक स्ट्रक्चर्स नहीं होते. कबीला अपने मसल पावर पे या मनी पावर पे या अपने इन्फ्लुएंस पे चलाता है, और उसके नीचे छोटे कबीले होते हैं. छोटे कबीले बड़े कबीले को अपना लॉयल्टी बोलते हैं कि हम आपके प्रति लॉयल हैं, आप हमारा कबीले को इंटरफेयर मत करो. आप उनकी दूसरी सूची देखिए. एक है सोनिया गांधी का कबीला. सोनिया गांधी के कबीले से कोई अकाउंटेबिलिटी इसलिए नहीं मांगता क्योंकि नीचे है कमलनाथ का कबीला जिसमें नकुलनाथ को टिकट मिला, गहलोत का कबीला जिसमें वैभव गहलोत को टिकट मिला, दिग्विजय सिंह का कबीला जिसमें कि जयवर्धन को टिकट मिल जाता है. अब वो तीसरे भी एक परिवारवादी है, उनको भी दूसरी सूची में मिला है. तो ये छोटे कबीले अपनी नॉन परफॉर्मेंस की अकाउंटेबिलिटी देते नहीं हैं और बड़े कबीले से अकाउंटेबिलिटी मांगते नहीं हैं. और जो मेरे जैसा व्यक्ति निकल जाता है कि एक आध की कोई सवाल उठा ले तो वो पूरा स्ट्रक्चर जो है कबीले वाला वो बोलता है बाकी सब तो छोड़ दो, इसको पहले भगाओ, हम लोग अपना मस्त है. एंड दे बिलीव, ये क्यों आप बोलेंगे कि बट वाइल दे डू दिस, वाइल दे नॉट वांट टू रिफॉर्म, दे बिलीव मिस्टेकनली दैट आज नहीं तो कल नहीं तो 10 साल बाद जब भाजपा खत्म हो जाएगी या मोदी जी चले जाएंगे तो हम ही सत्ता में आएंगे. तो वो कह रहे हैं कि अभी हमें केवल अपने आप को प्रेजर्वेशन मोड में रखना है, एक्सटिंक्ट नहीं होना है, सस्टेन करके रखना है, बाकी ग्रो नहीं करना है. आप मुझे एक बात बताइए, और आपने बोला परिवारवाद के विषय में कि ये वोटर्स के लिए इशू है कि नहीं. आप एक बार जस्ट डू वन थिंग, गो टू अन्नामलाई विथ अन्नामलाई टू तमिलनाडु स्ट्रीट्स. मैं होकर आया हूँ. एक तो आप देखिए कि अन्नामलाई का एक आंसर एआई पर, आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस पर, और राहुल गांधी जी ने जो आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस से शुरू करते करते इराक वॉर पर पहुंच गए, सब नेटवर्क जोड़ दिया कार्टून नेटवर्क छोड़ के. दोनों के बीच के क्लैरिटी ऑफ थॉट्स देखिए. और अन्नामलाई हो या बीजेपी हो, व्हाट डज बीजेपी एक्चुअली ऑफर? इट डजंट ऑफर just a replacement of Congress. It offers a new template of politics. तमिलनाडु की पॉलिटिक्स क्या है? फैमिली फर्स्ट, अपीजमेंट फर्स्ट, करप्शन फर्स्ट. अन्नामलाई कौन है? अन्नामलाई ना फैमिली का प्रोडक्ट है, ना वो फैमिली को बढ़ाने वाला है. सेम लाइक मोदी जी. अन्नामलाई इज वेरी क्लियर कि आई एम वेरी प्राउड ऑफ माई तमिल हेरिटेज, बट आई विल नॉट अलाउ यू टू अब्यूज माई हिंदू संस्कृति, भारतीय संस्कृति. सेम विथ मोदी जी. एंड अन्नामलाई घड़ी पहनता है तो अपने पैसों की घड़ी पहनता है, करप्शन नहीं किया 30,000 करोड़.
When you left the Congress, there was no Annamalai, there was nobody. So tell me, at that stage, did you leave the Congress knowing कि ये BJP है? एक ऑप्शन तैयार था before you left.
देखिए,
एक इनविटेशन आ चुका था.
नहीं मैडम, मैं तो 2017 में मैंने कांग्रेस छोड़ी. हाँ. और मैंने ज्वाइन की है बीजेपी नवंबर 21, 2021. तो मैंने तो 4 साल, जैसे आजकल पत्रकार इमीडिएटली राज्यसभा ले लेते हैं, वो कूलिंग ऑफ भी नहीं होता उनका। डीआईजी इमीडिएटली टिकट के कैंडिडेट बन जाते हैं। आप बोलेंगे जज को भी बना दिया, ठीक है,
कूलिंग ऑफ
हाँ,
था
कूलिंग ऑफ
इन केस यू आर ट्राइंग टू इंसिनुएट अबाउट अ स्पोक्सपर्सन ऑफ अ पर्टिकुलर
नहीं था कूलिंग ऑफ। एक तो महाराजगंज से इनकी साथी थी जो कल तक पत्रकार और परसों प्रवक्ता बन गई और फिर टिकट लेकर पिताजी की सीट पर कंटेस्ट कर गई। तो मैंने तो कूलिंग ऑफ पीरियड
द वोटर्स टॉट अ लेसन ना।
उनको तो 5%, उनको
came number 3।
पर मैं आपसे कह रहा हूँ कि मैंने कूलिंग ऑफ पीरियड इसलिए रखा, आई एक्सप्लोर्ड ऑल दी ऑप्शंस एंड आई वॉज कन्विंस्ड बाय द वे द बीजेपी वॉज मूविंग अहेड दैट दिस इज नॉट जस्ट द प्लेटफॉर्म फॉर मी बट एवरीबडी हु इज इन माई सिचुएशन विच इज बेसिकली द जेन जी, द मिलेनियल्स, द ओनली प्लेटफॉर्म दैट कैन अलाउ them to even have a chance in politics, where only platform where a BJYM कार्यकर्ता like नड्डा जी, और वो स्टोरी बताते अपने कि कहाँ वो कश्मीर में जाते थे छिप छिप के कि तिरंगा लहराए, दैट कार्यकर्ता कैन बिकम राष्ट्रीय अध्यक्ष ओनली इन बीजेपी। चाय वाला प्रधानमंत्री केवल बीजेपी में बन सकता है, बूथ पे काम करने वाला व्यक्ति गृह मंत्री केवल बीजेपी में बन सकता है, और किसी राजनीतिक दल में ये क्षमता नहीं है कि वो इस प्रकार के टैलेंट को ऑब्जॉर्व करे और जगह करे। अन्नामलाई इज देयर बिकॉज ऑफ मोदीज बीजेपी, बिकॉज ऑफ नड्डाज बीजेपी।
Aditi, what about you? When you were frustrated with the Congress and you wanted to quit, did anybody from the Gandhi family reach out to you? Did anybody from the inner coterie reach out to you and say that don't go?
The thing with the Congress and their leadership is they're so elitist कि there's no way they'll call and be like क्या हो गया, like I'll be so just this morning एक मेरा बहुत पुराना कार्यकर्ता है, you know, मेरे grandfather के ज़माने से, our families have been together and somehow he's mad at me. And younger than me, छोटा भाई है, you know, and then I called him. I've been calling him for the last 2 days, like क्यों गुस्सा हो, क्या हो गया, घर के बच्चे हो, you do that, you know. I could very easily be on my high horse and be like मैं विधायक हूँ और होगा and कुछ नहीं होता, दूसरा बना. No, you just don't do that to people, right? They did get their cronies to call me and sort of some MLAs and all of that कि Priyanka ji बहुत नाराज हैं and all that, because I think there was a whip.
So the idea is कि वो नाराज हैं तो आप फोन कीजिए.
हाँ, है ना, कि वो बड़ा नाराज हैं और आपने whip का उल्लंघन किया, this and that. And I remember, gosh, it's been a few years, but I think there was this 2-day non-stop session happening in the Vidhan Sabha. Something to do with, I think it was Gandhi ji's 2nd October tha, like some Jayanti. It was a special Jayanti, like marking so many years or something. And to celebrate that, UP Vidhan Sabha had like a special session for 2 days non-stop, only to talk about Vikas and development. It wasn't a political, it wasn't like a opposition, and you know, it was just like everyone putting their views about, you know, development and all these different agendas that we had. And they, for whatever reason, Congress party ने whip जारी किया कि none of our MLAs are going to go for this. And I was like, why? I want to go, I want to speak on this. किसी पार्टी का कुछ वो political था ही नहीं. It was just only talking about Gandhi ji and how far we've come and you know, the state of the nation and development, and completely like a very
apolitical.
Apolitical and kosher agenda. So I was like, what can be the problem with that? You know, so I went ahead and spoke. I prepared for days. I wanted to do my bit. And that's when it started. Whip का उल्लंघन and so then they got the people to call me कि आपने क्यों किया ये वो. मैं कहा मैंने कुछ बोला, आप सुन लीजिए मेरी speech, you know. And पर whip थी तो I was like, इसमें आपने फिर क्यों whip लगाई? There was just nothing, you know. और ऊपर से this is about Gandhi ji. This is about the father of the nation, you know. This is not a political agenda Vidhan Sabha, you know, as per usual at all.
But
the irony is कि जिसके नाम की ये खाते हैं, उन्हीं के सम्मान में एक विधानसभा के सत्र में जाने के लिए whip जारी हो के मत जाओ.
मैंने exactly ये point कहा है. How can you do this if this was any other?
स्मिता जी, आप किस बहकावे में हैं? कोई राजा रंग को फोन करता है. आप सुनिए, इनके 15 CM निकल गए. गुलाम नबी आजाद, अमरिंदर सिंह, इनको फोन जब नहीं गया तो आदित्य और मेरे जैसे लोगों को कहाँ से फोन आने वाला है स्मिता जी? उनको फोन कर लेते. वो 15 CM निकल गए उनके यहाँ.
अशोक चौहान, नारायण राणे, अमरिंदर सिंह, किरण कुमार रेड्डी, पेमा खांडू, दिगंबर कामत, रवि नायर, SM कृष्णा, विजय बहुगुणा, ND तिवारी, जगदम्बिका पाल, ये सब they are
CMs
all
हैं.
have
ये केवल CM की
CMs,
सूची है.
only CMs. these
MPs
were.
की नहीं.
So there is Maharashtra, Punjab CM, undivided Andhra, Arunachal Pradesh, Goa, Goa again.
अच्छा हमें छोड़ दीजिए.
कर्नाटका, उत्तराखंड. अरे इसमें वो नहीं है, हेमंता नहीं है. हेमंता भी तो निकले थे.
हेमंता पर सीएम नहीं बने थे उस समय तक. हमने बीजेपी ने उनको पहली बार.
That's why his name is not on the list. हाँ.
मेरा ये कहना है कि वो जिनके साथ उनकी मित्रता, घनिष्ठ मित्रता थी, जैसे ज्योतिरादित्य जी या मिलिंद जी, उनको उन्होंने कम से कम फोन करके कुछ बोला हो तो.
Before
जितिन प्रसाद
नहीं,
जी.
पर एक बार अमिताभ बच्चन ने कहा था, you know,
हाँ.
when he was asked that how come you don't, you know, does the Gandhi family call you? Why are they not there and things? To which he turned around saying कि वो राजा है, हम रंक है.
मैंने वही कहा.
तो exactly. So this is what he said, that they decide. You know, the pecking order is such that it's the Raja who decides that when is the interaction going to happen.
Yeah.
And this is something that Rashid Kidwai also said, that, you know, when it comes to that, there is a special place that the Gandhis have, and people go to the Gandhis when the Gandhis call them. You don't visit them because you have a grouse.
Yeah.
But tell me, you were there in Raebareli, right? Yeah. And why did you accept or did you think that there's no other way कि Priyanka is nobody in the party, right, officially at that time.
Yeah.
But you just accepted it, right, that it's Priyanka who will decide. It's she who I have to talk to.
Yeah.
Rahul Gandhi was the president of the party at that time.
Yeah.
Sonia Gandhi was your MP at that
MP,
time.
yeah.
But in spite of that, it was Priyanka Gandhi who was taking decision?
Absolutely. Especially for the constituency. I did eventually meet Rahul Gandhi. I just found him, I'm sorry, but completely unimpressive. I didn't know what to. So I would talk to him about work or UP. I remember like the first time, after we won and वो 7 MLA है ना, Innova वाला joke and all of that. So I went to meet him as a newly elected MLA, and so he was like completely clueless. So how many MLAs do we have in UP now? You know. And I was like, sir, 7, you know. And he threw his head back and laughed. And I was like,
he doesn't know.
He doesn't know and he's laughing. Can you imagine that happening in
I can
in the
totally
BJP?
imagine it actually.
No, but can you imagine that happening in our party?
Well,
even like you just don't know that you have like 7 MLAs in a house of 4 or 3
1 second.
and throwing your head back and laughing.
Smitaji, except for few people in media, nobody thinks Rahul Gandhi is well read. Not even Barack Obama, who's written it in his book, that he came off as awfully trying hard to impress but not able to do so. You know, recently
he trained under Lee Kuan Yew.
Well, you know, I think they should not say it in honor of that great man. That
he internship किया है. He has trained under him.
Whoever he interned under, these days he's interning under Yogendra Yadav ji and of course Sudhindra Kulkarni ji. So good luck to them and to him.
वो भी तो बीजेपी से निकले. वो Prime Minister's office में थे भाई Sudhindra ji.
And Sudhindra ji was once a leftist, then a rightist, then a leftist. So let's not go into that. You know, when
why not go into that? No, we need
will,
to go into that.
But before that, just one point. Forget everything else. Rahul Gandhi recently said that MRP means minimum retail price. Can you believe this?
Yeah.
You know, he said that, look, if this is the price on this means that the shopkeeper who is there, he cannot sell it below this price. He has to sell it above this price. Even my 5-year-old cousin would know that भाई चॉकलेट लानी है तो वो चॉकलेट जो है वो अगर 5 रुपए की कह रहा है तो शॉपकीपर कांट चार्ज अबव 5 रुपया. 5 रुपए के नीचे अगर डिस्काउंट देना है, बेटा बहुत प्यारे लग रहे हो ले लो 2 रुपए में, तो दे सकता है. बट ही थिंक्स, राहुल जी, he's obviously clueless that he had 7 MLAs and he thinks that it's minimum retail price. He said मनरेगा माफ नहीं किया. He says, and I'm not nitpicking on him. Look, everyone makes a gaffe in a political speech. कभी किसी के मुंह से कुछ निकल जाता है. ऐसा नहीं है, सब लोग जब public space में होते हो. But to have the presence of mind, to be able to understand the issues and to evoke confidence in somebody. Can you evoke confidence? He said Aishwarya Rai was at the Ram Mandir प्राण प्रतिष्ठा. आप थे ना वहाँ पे? ठीक है ऐश्वर्या जी. और ऐश्वर्या जी को नाचने वाली अपने ससुर के साथ अमिताभ नाच रहे थे उसके साथ नाच रही थी. Who speaks like this about women?
No, this is what I'm trying to say is that I have seen on many occasions that he says things about events which have happened which have not happened.
Yeah.
You know, like he's saying about Aishwarya Rai.
Yeah.
Like I have seen many times he's saying it. The fact doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Now, okay, fine. एक बार आपने गलती कर दी.
Yeah.
That maybe somebody told you this happened and you said it. But the fact is, he repeats it the next day. Then he repeats it the next day. Ab Modi ji ne bhi during campaign shayad kuch kaha ho the first time. Now, obviously, people will tell him that this was factually incorrect or something like that. Ya fir Amit Shah ne kaha ho, kisi ne bhi kaha ho. In the spur of the moment, sometimes in the flow of it, you might make a mistake or two. That happens during campaigning. But immediately लोग आपको correct करेंगे और आप अगले दिन वही गलती नहीं करोगे. In all likelihood, you will correct yourself the next day and say that कल मैंने जो कहा था this is what I meant. But he goes on repeating it. What I find it difficult is that you were in the Congress too. How did you have to defend this?
I'll tell you. I think the biggest reason for that, what you're saying, कि भाई वो गलत बोलते हैं फिर बोलते ही जाते हैं. When you are surrounded by sycophants, like you started this conversation with, the thing is nobody has, I think, and what I told you with my own story of like, उनका बेशक एक बार को फोन उठ जाता था, मान लीजिए गांधी परिवार का. उनके जो आसपास के थे, PROs, PSOs, whatever, advisors, they're firstly just as clueless, if not more. And even if they know something, I don't think they're going to go up to him and tell him that, sir, you are wrong.
Why?
I really think you should... Dar ke mare? What he's been going on about, what I'm saying is just, itna sycophancy ka culture wahan developed hai. It's completely like a top-down, approach in terms of leadership and everything, matlab ek Raj Parivar se. So I don't think anyone has the guts to necessarily go up to them and say, sir, this is wrong. I really think you should. I don't think I think they'll find themselves without a job or an office the next day.
I don't think it's just about the guts. I think there's a vested interest in it. It's not.
That's
as
what I'm
simple.
saying.
Achha, tell me, even in your party, you have just Raj Parivar ki baat hui. To in your party, also now your party, which is the BJP, there are people who are elitists. Like there are people who have Raj Parivar se, and say Vasundhara is there, right? Vasundhara Raje. Her mother was in the party and she was considered the matriarch of the party. जब party के पास literally events छोड़ो, मतलब भंडारा के पैसे नहीं होते थे, she used to do it. And I have seen for myself how food would come in for all the karyakartas and everybody. And the party owes a lot to her mother. Now, when it comes to Vasundhara, do people have the guts to tell Vasundhara ji also कि गलत है?
Let me tell you first of all the difference between Congress's approach and BJP's approach. First of all, we cannot prevent anybody who has family background to enter into politics. Constitution does not prohibit it. Just like, for instance, you are a media person, eminent media person. Does that mean that your family member can't be a media person or even in the same organization?
It's the same like in doctors and
exactly.
lawyers and everybody.
But if you say that, supposing Anjana Om Kashyap, I can take her name?
Yeah, of course.
Anjana Om Kashyap says that मैं हल्ला बोल 6 बजे करती हूँ, अब मेरे जाने के बाद मेरी बेटी हल्ला बोल करेगी 6 बजे, तो वो सही नहीं है, वो परिवारवाद कहलाता है. अगर कोई व्यक्ति अपनी निष्ठा से, अपनी कर्मठता से, अपनी काबिलियत से अगर वो जन सेवा में जाता है और अपना मकाम बनाता है तो उसमें कोई दिक्कत की बात नहीं है. और जहाँ तक वसुंधरा जी है या कोई भी और नेता है, भारतीय जनता पार्टी में कार्यकर्ता सबसे महत्वपूर्ण है. हर व्यक्ति कार्यकर्ता की भूमिका में है और कार्यकर्ताओं को बोला भी जाता है और उनको सम्मान भी दिया जाता है. आज कार्यकर्ता ही बने ना भजनलाल जी मुख्यमंत्री, आज मोहन यादव कार्यकर्ता ही बने हैं ना, आज नायब सैनी कार्यकर्ता ही बने, खट्टर जी भी कार्यकर्ता ही थे. तो कार्यकर्ताओं को बोला भी जाता. हाँ, पर यहाँ पर मैं वही कह रहा हूँ, हमारे यहाँ पर परिवार पार्टी नहीं है, पार्टी परिवार की तरह है, तो उसको स्पिरिट में भी लिया जाता है. गलती होती है तो मेरे राष्ट्रीय अध्यक्ष मुझे बताएंगे और मुझे अगर कुछ गलत लगता है तो मेरे पास भी ये सुविधा है कि मैं राष्ट्रीय अध्यक्ष जी से कहूं कि हमें शायद ये अप्रोच लेना चाहिए और सहज भाव से उसको स्वीकारा जाता है. कोई बड़ा छोटा नहीं है, जब पार्टी में हो सब एक ही लेवल पे हैं, तो इसमें कोई समस्या नहीं.
when you shifted to the BJP, it's a radical shift. It wasn't so much of a radical shift earlier, but now it is completely, because Congress has become so left of center that it's completely leftist. I mean, if Sitaram Yechuri is the person who's going to be advising Rahul Gandhi and seen next to Rahul Gandhi, then we know where how left the party has shifted. Now, from this leftist party, forget about being centrist, you're moving to the rightist ideology. You're moving to a Hindutva ideology. At that point of time, did it make a difference? And once you've joined the BJP, how easy, how difficult was it?
My God, I have so much to say on this. I think it was, for me, it was always and already a natural choice to be aligned with the BJP ideology. What surprised me, or what came as a shock, or rather what was harder to adjust to, was not the shift from Congress to BJP, which felt very natural to me. I'm a Hindu, and वो हिंदुत्व की अगर हम बात करते हैं, मान लीजिए, is what the Congress will blame us for. That shift came very naturally to me. What rather surprised me, perhaps I didn't realize it upon the time of joining the Congress party, is how much of a quote unquote anti-Hindu stance a lot of times they would take. Now I'll give you a small example. रायबरेली से हूँ. Sonia ji was my MP. 2019 के चुनाव से just पहले, when she came for her नामांकन and all of that, when she came for her nomination, the only time they come to Raebareli is for the nomination, and then they forget about Raebareli for the next 5 years or whatever. नामांकन के लिए जब वो आई थी, keeping in line with this whole like soft Hindutva thing that they were like at that time practicing, they went to a masjid and उन्होंने वहाँ चादर चढ़ाई, ये सारा अपना किया जो भी रिचुअल होते हैं. Fair enough. No photographers allowed. हम लोगों से भी, I was their MLA, कहा गया था कि कोई फोटो वोटो मत खींचना, nothing doing, है ना, फोन बाहर रख के आइए, right? And right after, so they did this whole thing, fantastic, अच्छी बात है. आपने वहाँ मीडिया क्यों नहीं अलाउ करी? Half an hour later, they went to some, पंडित जी के हाउस में and all of that, जहाँ काफ़ी टाइम से जाते हैं, वहाँ उन्होंने हवन किया. दुनिया भर का मीडिया वहाँ अलाउड है. We were even told to take photos and tweet it or in Facebook and Insta, whatever, share it on social media. Why the discrepancy? Why? भाई, if you, अगर आप अपने मंदिर में वो हवन करते हो, I'll show you those photos also. I still have them. Their own media.
I'm not sure why it happened. My conjecture is there is only one photograph of Rahul Gandhi along with, if I'm not mistaken, with Rajiv Gandhi also. ऐसे करके खड़े हैं, and it was probably at Mohammad Yunus's son's funeral. And वो ऐसे करके खड़े हैं, और अगर आप उसको सोशल मीडिया में देखोगे, every social media site which talks ill of the Gandhi family has that and said that they are closet Muslims because see, they are praying in the Muslim way. So there is a lot of Gandh also about them.
एक तो मैं आपको बता दूं, वो जिस समय पे ज्योतिरादित्य उनके साथ में थे, एक फोटो है, आई एम नॉट मेकिंग दिस अप, आप गूगल कर लीजिए, उज्जैन महाकाल लोग, उसमें वो जिस प्रकार से बैठे हैं, ऐसे, क्योंकि मैं तो प्रैक्टिसिंग मुस्लिम हूँ, तो नमाज के पोजीशन में वो बैठे हैं. तो अगर वो इस प्रकार से बैठेंगे तो लोग, चलिए सोशल मीडिया तो कुछ भी कह लेता है, परंतु मेरा सवाल ये है कि आप जो अदिति से सवाल पूछ रही हो, आपको सवाल ये पूछना चाहिए था कि महात्मा गांधी का राजनीतिक संकल्प क्या था? राम राज्य. महात्मा गांधी जाते जाते क्या गए? हे राम. उनकी समाधि पर राम लिखा हुआ है. महात्मा गांधी ने तो गौ बछड़े को और गौ की हत्या ना हो इसकी परिकल्पना की थी. महात्मा गांधी की कांग्रेस से हटकर ये नेहरू की कांग्रेस बन चुकी है. ये दरअसल महात्मा गांधी की कांग्रेस नहीं है, ये नेहरू कांग्रेस है, और इसीलिए राम राम से ज्यादा इनके रोम रोम में रोम बसता है. रोम मतलब वोट बैंक की पॉलिटिक्स बसती है. अब देखिए कि इस प्रकार का काल चक्र बदलता है, कोट एंड कोट. काल चक्र ऐसा बदलता है कि जिनके राजनीतिक नारे हुआ करते थे, उत्तर प्रदेश से आती हैं, जानती है कि मिले मुलायम कांची राम, हवा में उड़ गए जय श्री राम. आज कहाँ मुलायम कांची राम, सब मिलके बोलो जय श्री राम. और इसीलिए किसी के स्वप्न में श्री कृष्ण आ रहे हैं, कोई चंदी पाठ कर रहा है, कोई रामनवमी की छुट्टी 10 साल बाद दे रहा है. तो मुझे लगता है कि आज पॉलिटिक्स का जो टेम्पलेट शिफ्ट हुआ है, उसको केटर करने के लिए ये लोग आ रहे हैं, परंतु ये जेन्युइनली नहीं आ रहे. अगर ये जेन्युइन होते स्मिता जी, तो इनसे पूछिए केवल एक बात कि आपने जो सोमनाथ में गलती की, सोमनाथ में आपने विरोध किया, आपने हमारे सरदार पटेल की बात नहीं सुनी, आपने राजेंद्र प्रसाद जी को रोकने की चेष्टा की, आपने कहा हिंदू रिवाइवलिज्म होगा, नेहरू जी का ये पत्र है. आज अयोध्या में आपके पास ये मौका था कि आप उस ऐतिहासिक गलती को सुधारते, पर आपने नहीं किया.
मैं अयोध्या की बात करने वाली थी, जस्ट कमिंग टू दैट. अभी सो आई वाज आल्सो वन ऑफ द लकी फ्यू हु हैड अ चांस टू गो फॉर द प्राण प्रतिष्ठान. बहुत सौभाग्य था मेरा. और अभी हाल में रामलाल जी ने एक बैठक ली थी जो संपर्क सचिव हैं बेसिकली आरएसएस के, रामलाल जी, तो उन्होंने लखनऊ में ऑल द बंच ऑफ अस फ्रॉम सॉर्ट ऑफ लखनऊ एंड लखनऊ मंडल दैट हैड अ चांस टू गो फॉर प्राण प्रतिष्ठान, ही डिड अ मीटिंग विद ऑल ऑफ अस, जस्ट अ फीडबैक कि कैसा लगा, क्या था और कैसे इम्प्रूव कर सकते हैं. वंडरफुल मीटिंग इट वाज. And so then he told us a little bit about, we all were very curious about 30 of us, 30 odd people who had been invited. And तो ये हम लोग उनसे पूछ रहे थे कि how did you manage to fit everyone in, मतलब कि आपने किसी हर पार्टी you give the respect to every party to invite their leaders, every religious group and all of that. So he spoke about it a little bit. आधे घंटे उन्होंने बताया होगा कि कैसे उन्होंने how they picked, who they picked to come for the प्राण प्रतिष्ठान. It was really fun. तो he was saying कि भाई और कोई भी राजनीतिक दल रहा हो, है ना, जिसको हमने मतलब जो बड़े राजनीतिक दल हैं, चाहे वो समाजवादी हो, चाहे वो ये आम आदमी पार्टी हो, व्हाटएवर, ऑल ऑफ दीज अदर छोटे बड़े दल, तो हमने इतने को बुलाया. एंड द कांग्रेस पार्टी एंड द कम्युनिस्ट पार्टी वर द ओनली वंस जिन्होंने स्पष्टता मना कर दिया. अदर पीपल एटलीस्ट दे हैड द सुहूर टू बी लाइक, देखिए हम क्योंकि सब परिवार आना चाहते हैं तो हम बाद में जाएंगे. Even if you don't want to go and whatever your reasons are, and even if they're political reasons, the thing is you still have to be respectful about this thing that is happening, the biggest event of the century, if not 5 centuries, you can still be respectful about sentiments, about religious sentiments. And he said it. He was like, the Congress party and the Communist party were the only ones who straight up no.
इसके पीछे वायनाड कारण है.
अच्छा सुनो, let me first, before you start that part, let me ask you, go back to your story, Shehzad, that this is something that I've asked Shazia also, which don't get offended, I'm asking you this, but as a Muslim, you get a lot, I have seen on television debates where they attack you. When you get attacked that as a Muslim you're in a party about the Hindutva party and all those things, does it really hurt? Do your family members turn around and say that don't be part of this party, this is this is a Muslim Virodhi party, this is a majoritarian party? As an individual, does it hurt you?
It doesn't hurt me because ये factual नहीं है, और मैं आपको बताता हूँ क्यों. जो देश में सबसे भयानक एंटी मुस्लिम राइट्स हुए, हाशिमपुरा, भागलपुर, मीरठ, मलियाना, मुंबई, जलगांव, अहमदाबाद, दिल्ली, ये सब कांग्रेस के कालखंड में हुए. दूसरी बात, कांग्रेस ने कभी इनको न्याय नहीं दिलाया. तीसरी बात, एक तुलना करते हैं गुजरात के मुसलमानों की, जो तथाकथित कम्युनल सरकार के नीचे रही, और वेस्ट बंगाल के मुसलमानों की. कोई भी पैमाना उठा लो, मैं आपको 3 पैमाने बताता हूँ. अटेनमेंट ऑफ एजुकेशन, गुजरात मुस्लिम्स बेटर देन नेशनल एवरेज. फाइनेंशियल इंक्लूजन, better than national average. And contribution in public sector enterprise, 9% मुसलमान है गुजरात में, 9% उनकी हिस्सेदारी हाई पोस्ट इन PSU. बंगाल में 25% मुसलमान हैं, 2% contribution in public sector enterprises in high positions. तो मुझे बताइए कि गरीबी और पिछड़ेपन में किसने रखा. और इसके अलावा मैं पूछना चाहता हूँ, ये कहते हैं ना मुस्लिम विरोधी. आज जब 12 करोड़ नलके बैठते हैं तो शाजिया और स्मिता दोनों के घर में बैठ रहे हैं. जब 80 करोड़ लोगों को राशन मिलता है, मोहम्मद मोहित दोनों को मिलता है. जब शौचालय बनते हैं तो किसी के साथ भेदभाव नहीं होता. 25 करोड़ लोग गरीबी से निकले. कौन निकले? ज़्यादातर गरीब कौन है? जो ज़्यादातर मोदी जी की स्कीम है, उज्ज्वला योजना हो, मुद्रा योजना हो, जनधन हो, आयुष्मान हो, बाय वर्च्यू ऑफ बीइंग पुअर, द पुअरेस्ट ऑफ द पुअर, वेदर यू आर फ्रॉम ए कास्ट और बी कास्ट, ए रिलीजन और बी रिलीजन, यू गेट द बेनिफिट. पर मैं इससे उलट एक सवाल पूछना चाहता हूँ. कांग्रेस तो मुसलमानों की बड़ी हितैषी है ना. 1980s में आंटुले जी के बाद जो केवल जम्मू कश्मीर हटा दीजिए बिकॉज वो मुस्लिम बाहुल है, मीन्स सब मुस्लिम मेजॉरिटी. कांग्रेस ने किस मुस्लिम को मुख्यमंत्री बनाया किसी भी राज्य में? असम में बनाया क्या? एक सोचिए, नहीं बनाया. जम्मू कश्मीर छोड़ दीजिए क्योंकि आप बोलेंगे गुलाम नबी आज़ाद. जम्मू कश्मीर छोड़कर 1980s के बाद, आंटुले जी के बाद जो महाराष्ट्र में बने, उसके बाद आप बताइए. और मेरे पार्टी का आप देखिए, आप बोलते मेरी पार्टी टिकट नहीं देती.
हाँ एग्जैक्टली, एक भी नहीं. एक
गलत,
नॉट वन इन द कैबिनेट. सो व्हाई?
पहले तो ये समझ लीजिए कि माइनॉरिटी की परिभाषा मुस्लिम नहीं है. सिर्फ माइनॉरिटी में सिख भी आते हैं, जैन भी आते हैं, पारसी भी आते हैं, बुद्धिस्ट भी आते हैं.
लार्जेस्ट माइनॉरिटी आर मुस्लिम.
मैं तो देखता हूँ कि सेकंड लार्जेस्ट मेजॉरिटी है हम. आप माइनॉरिटी बोलती हैं, मैं तो सेकंड लार्जेस्ट मेजॉरिटी समझता हूं। तो मैं तो सोचता हूं कि कोई पारसी मुझे आके कभी नहीं बोलता।
There's no way
देखिए स्मिता जी, देखिए कभी किसी पारसी व्यक्ति, और पारसी सबसे ज्यादा संपन्न है, कई लोग मुझे पारसी भी समझते हैं, पारसी सबसे ज्यादा संपन्न है, पर कभी किसी पारसी ने ये नहीं बोला कि कांग्रेस ने तो घोषित पारसी कैंडिडेट नहीं दिया एमपी, तो क्या पारसियों के खिलाफ है कांग्रेस? पर मैं आपको दूसरी बात बताता हूँ। गुलाम अली खटाना पहाड़ी समाज से, जम्मू कश्मीर के गुजर समाज से, उनको पहली बार राज्यसभा भेजने का काम मोदी जी ने किया। दूसरा मैं आपको बताता हूँ, ये एमपी एमएलए तो छोटी मोटी बात है, सबसे इंपॉर्टेंट पोजीशन कौन सी होती है एक देश के इंटेलिजेंस स्ट्रक्चर में? इंटेलिजेंस ब्यूरो का चीफ, आईबी चीफ। जब मोदी जी सरकार में आए तो कौन था? आसिफ इब्राहिम। सरकार बदलते ही सबसे पहला कदम आप क्या करते हो? आप अपने आईबी चीफ को बदलते हो। मोदी जी को देश के मुसलमानों पे इतना विश्वास है कि आसिफ इब्राहिम ही हमारे देश का आईबी चीफ रहा। उसके अलावा सैयद अकबरुद्दीन, उनको हमने यूनाइटेड नेशंस में हमारा चेहरा बनाकर देश का भेजा। हरदीप पुरी सिख है, वो मंत्री बने हैं, वो क्या अल्पसंख्यक समाज से नहीं है? जॉन बार्लो बने, वो नहीं है क्या अल्पसंख्यक समाज से? अब जो हम लोगों ने पसमानदा समाज को रीच आउट किया है, यूएलबी इलेक्शंस मतलब अर्बन लोकल बॉडी इलेक्शंस हुए उत्तर प्रदेश में, वहाँ पे 350 को दिया हमने पसमानदा मुसलमानों को, उसमें से 60 जीत कर आए भाजपा के टिकट पे। अब जहाँ वोट मिलेगा वही टिकट देंगे ना विनेबिलिटी पर। मैं इस पे एक इंपॉर्टेंट पॉइंट देना चाहता हूँ, क्योंकि ये देश में जाना चाहिए। मोदी जी के सीन पर आने से पहले, गुजरात में भी सीन पर आने से पहले, गुजरात में 9-10% मुस्लिम्स है, विच मीन्स कि विधानसभा की दृष्टिकोण से 18 टिकट मुसलमानों को देने चाहिए। कांग्रेस ने 95 में एक बार 10 से ज़्यादा टिकट दिए थे। कांग्रेस ने आजीवन मुसलमानों को कभी उनके अनुपात नहीं दिया है आबादी के। और 1950 से लेकर 2014 तक, मतलब नो मोदी जी ऑन द सीन, इस कालखंड में आप लोकसभा की रिप्रेजेंटेशन देखिए, मुस्लिम परसेंटेज इज 14% एंड द रिप्रेजेंटेशन ऑफ मुस्लिम्स इज 4%, 5% इन पार्लियामेंट, उसमें भी ज्यादातर अपर क्लास मुस्लिम्स, नॉट पसमानदा। तो इसके पीछे कौन था? इसके पीछे कौन था? ये मुस्लिम विरोधी।
एज अ मुस्लिम बीजेपी कार्यकर्ता, as a spokesperson, you have hopes that you can reach the pinnacle like anybody else can?
I have hopes that this party, anybody who has merit, talent, efficiency, loyalty will reach wherever his position is due in this party, because this platform is caste community agnostic. अगर ऐसा नहीं होता, प्लीज एक बात नोट कीजिए, आई एम वन ऑफ द मोर प्रोलिफिक स्पोक्सपर्सन्स ऑफ दिस पार्टी, मीन्स आई रिप्रेजेंट दिस पार्टी इन द गवर्नमेंट टू सर्टेन एक्सटेंट इन ऑल द इंपॉर्टेंट प्लेटफॉर्म्स इंक्लूडिंग पॉडकास्ट विद स्मिता. Can you please tell me, I will name 5 spokespersons of BJP who are Muslims who represent party on daily basis. सैयद जफर इस्लाम हो गए, सैयद शाहनवाज हुसैन हो गए, आपकी शाजिया हो गई, मैं हो गया, इसके अलावा भी बहुत सारे हैं. आप मुझे 5 कांग्रेस के बता दो. कांग्रेस तो हितैषी है ना, मंत्री एमपी मिनिस्टर बनाना दूर की बात है, मुख्यमंत्री बनाना दूर की बात है. आप 5 प्रवक्ता कांग्रेस के मुस्लिम बता दो, नहीं बता पाएंगे. और मैं आपसे कह रहा हूं, मैं इस सोच के, अगर मुझे कल मोदी जी या नड्डा जी बोलेंगे कि तुम मुस्लिम हो इसलिए हम तुम्हें बना रहे हैं, तो मैं रिजेक्ट कर दूंगा, क्योंकि वो जिन्ना वाली सोच को मेरे परदादा दादाओं ने रिजेक्ट किया था. आई एम हियर बिकॉज दिस कंट्री चोज टू बी सेक्युलर एंड देयरफॉर आई शुड बी ट्रीटेड ऑन माई सेक्युलर क्रेडेंशियल्स, ऑन माई मेरिट. If Modi ji and Nadda ji tell me you have merit and therefore we will make you, I am happy to become. If they make me only because I am Muslim, then I will say कि सर ये तो कांग्रेस भी करती थी, मांगा मुसलमान दिया सलमान. तो इसीलिए मैं नहीं चाहता कि इस प्रकार से हो. और मैं आपको बताता हूँ, देखिए ये सोच जो है ना, विभाजनकारी सोच है. ये अगर कांग्रेस पार्टी इसमें बिलीव करती है ना, अभी आजकल ये ओबीसी का नारा लगाते हैं. मुख्यमंत्री बनाने का मौका मिला, मोहन यादव को हमने बनाया ना, सैनी जी को. आपने किसको बनाया? रेवंत रेड्डी. रेवंत रेड्डी क्या बोलता है? कुर्मी डीएनए कमतर होता है हमारे डीएनए से. इनको बना दिया आपने. ओबीसी करते हैं. ओबीसी कास्ट सेंसस रोका किसने था 1951 में? जवाहरलाल नेहरू. मंडल का विरोध किसने किया? इंदिरा गांधी. राजीव गांधी ने खड़े होकर मंडल का विरोध किया 6 सितंबर 1990 को. और आज आप ओबीसी के हितैषी, और जिसने देश का प्रधानमंत्री ओबीसी दिया है पहली बार, जिसने टेन्योर कंप्लीट किया है, उसको आप बोल रहे हो.
You know, Aditi, let me come to you, because when we are talking about caste, how can one not talk about Uttar Pradesh?
UP, of course.
Right? So, if I was to come and ask you that in 2024, does caste still matter the most when a person goes to vote? One, that about Uttar Pradesh. 2, about Raebareli itself. Tell me, in Raebareli, without Sonia Gandhi out there, what next?
Firstly, as much as I agree that अगर आप उत्तर प्रदेश की राजनीति की बात करेंगे तो जाहिर सी बात है आप उससे कास्ट इक्वेशन नहीं हटा सकते हैं. फेयर इनफ. But when it comes to Lok Sabha elections, I've seen it in 2014, I've seen it in 2019, I've been in the foray since. When it comes to Modi ji's election, it's above caste lines. और अगर above caste line नहीं होता तो हम अमेठी कतई नहीं जीतते. It was not an easy thing to do, you know. Defeating Rahul Gandhi from Amethi, of course Smriti ji worked very, very hard. She worked continuously. But when it comes to Modi ji's election and now to a large extent Yogi ji's election, that's what we saw in 2022 as well. I think people have now started voting above caste and creed. Having said that, अभी जैसे शहजाद भी कह रहे थे, representation भी तो सबको दिया है. Rajbhar ji has recently been made a minister. Chauhan ji has recently been made a cabinet minister. So everyone has been given. Keshav Prasad Maurya ji is a deputy chief minister. So when it comes to ये जो OBC politics चिल्ला रहे हैं, you know, BJP has given them their dues. If you look at even our cabinet, or if you look at the ticket distribution and everything, it's very evenly and fairly divided. जो कोई भी any representation, be it अति पिछड़ा वर्ग हो या हमारा SC समाज हो, कोई भी, it has been very, very evenly divided based on caste representation. And of course, winnability as well.
And what about Rai Bareli without a Gandhi family? Do you think that they will not, because at the time of filing this podcast, we still don't have a Rai Bareli nominee from the Congress as yet. Do you think that the family is going to just let go of Rai Bareli?
Look, I know that they're very nervous for sure. If they weren't, they would have started campaigning. They would have done something or the other to retain their seat. They have 0 MLAs over there. Last time they still had 2 MLAs in Raebareli. They have no MLAs. All the MLAs are either, well, there's me in the BJP, or
How important
there
is it to have a good network of MLAs to win the MP election?
Who's going to do the groundwork? Who's going to do you need your karyakartas, you need your structure, you need to have public representatives who can go out on your behalf. So they have, so I think they're very, very nervous about Raebareli, and rightly so, as they should be. Priyanka Gandhi, I understand Sonia ji is not contesting this time. She said she was unwell. But she could have at least had a representative. She could have had her daughter at least come in over the last 5 years. You know, nomination के बाद ये लोग कब आए हैं स्मिता जी? Only and only once for a Vidhan Sabha rally. That's it. There is no other time they've even come. Like, forget everything else. It doesn't matter if you're in power or you're not in power. This is what you call your quote unquote your gad, your bastion.
My objection was that at the time of pandemic, they were not on the ground in their constituencies.
Agreed.
That really bothers me.
Rahul Gandhi and Gandhi
anybody
family,
from any party, the party should, not just the Congress party, I'm saying even the BJP. If the MP or the MLA was not in the constituency, not helping with oxygen, vaccination, PPE
food
kits,
delivery,
food, looking after their people during that time and was ensconced in their house, they should get the
Smita ji,
axe.
just to clarify, in fact, the biggest drive of making sure that people take vaccines, even when Samajwadi Party was saying a BJP ki vaccine hai, or delivering rations, was being done by the BJP and its extended parivar, the Sangh Parivar, the RSS volunteers. In fact, I remember very clearly Nadda ji used to have multiple rounds of meetings on a day-to-day basis कि हम लोग क्या सेवा कार्य कर रहे हैं. He said सियासी कार्य छोड़िए, सेवा कार्य क्या हो रहा है, and he used to take meetings with MPs. So I would say that is not entirely the correct factual picture. But having said that, I have another point to make. This attitude of taking for granted is very common for the Gandhi family, and now even more so. With what face? After the DMK abuses North Indian voters, says that ये उत्तर भारती वाले जो है ये सब पानी पूरी बेचते हैं, ये हिंदी बोलने वाले शूद्र होते हैं. The comments of A. Raja, the comments of Mr. Pawan Mudi, the comments of Mr. Elan Govan, and Rahul himself comments on Amethi's voters कि केरला के लोगों को समझता है, इनको नहीं समझ में आता. Priyanka Vadra laughed when Channi called Uttar Pradesh and Bihar bhaiya. After that, with what face they will go? And despite the insistence of Kerala wing of left parties that jaiye Wayanad chodiye Amethi se ladiye, he is not going, and nor will he go.
फिर भी when they go out to campaign, you see huge crowds that
नहीं, वो
come.
भीड़, मैं इसका एग्जांपल आपको देता हूँ. जब अभी ये क्वीन एलिजाबेथ तो नहीं रही, उनकी फैमिली जाती है, ये प्रिंस ऑफ वेल्स और जो भी है, तो उनको भी देखने भीड़ आती है ना, किंग चार्ल्स और उनकी फैमिली जब जाएगी तो उनको देखने भीड़ आएगी यूके की, उनके लिए वोट थोड़ी करेंगे वो। तो ये स्पेक्टिकल है, राजा को देखने के लिए आते हैं। यहाँ पे तो देश में कोई मतलब अगर वो मंकी शो दिखाएंगे आप सड़क पे, तो आपको मैं बोल रहा हूँ अभी निकलेंगे बाहर, सड़क पे मंकी शो चल रहा होगा, 15-20 लोग देखेंगे, तो वो देखते हैं लोग कि यार ये भी है, कोई है। एक मैं देख रहा था पॉडकास्ट, कैन आई कोट अदर पॉडकास्ट कॉम्पिटिशन?
एब्सोल्युटली, गो अहेड।
बरखा का पॉडकास्ट था, बरखा जी ने बताया, शायद वो संभवतः नीरजा चौधरी से बात कर रही थी, वो मैं हैव ग्रेट रिस्पेक्ट फॉर। बरखा वाज टेलिंग नीरजा कि मैं गई थी अमेठी रायबरेली में, तो वहाँ पे मैं चाय की टपरी पर रुकी, तो मेरे शॉर्ट हेयर थे और मैं क्योंकि इंग्लिश बोल रही थी तो उसको लगा टपरी वाले को कि अरे प्रियंका वाड्रा जी आ गए। इतना डिस्कनेक्ट है, इतना डिस्कनेक्ट है। अच्छा, एक पॉइंट मैं आपसे बोलना चाहता हूँ कि जो कास्ट के बारे में आप,
but this is another thing. The fact is that we talk about penetration of social media, कि सबके पास अब सेल फोन है, सब देख सकते हैं, सबके घरों में टेलीविजन है, इलेक्ट्रिसिटी है, so but the point is in Amethi and Raebareli, I've always found it shocking that these two have been the first family of India, जिसको कहते हैं, their गढ़, and it is so backward.
And compare that to what has happened in Kashi over the last 10 years.
I can't understand that. Why is it that people cannot identify, cannot figure out, because they have not seen a photograph of Priyanka Gandhi. Everybody has seen it, right? सबने देखा हुआ है. I can't imagine anybody who has a cell phone. So which means that the penetration is still not there in these two places. Why did they ignore their own constituencies?
Well, Rahul Gandhi certainly paid the price for it. And they still didn't learn. मुझे तो लग रहा था after Rahul lost in 2019 that they changed their ways, they'd reform. You'd probably see more of them on the ground in the last 5 years what were to come. And nothing.
What is the buzz in Raebareli? Do Congress karyakartas want Priyanka to fight from there?
Congress karyakartas, yes. Of course.
Yeah.
What other choice do they have? They तो जो भी थोड़े मोड़े बाकी हैं, कांग्रेस के कार्यकर्ता तो चाह रहे हैं. But
there was a time, I used to hear this that जब राज्यसभा की बात चलती थी, that why doesn't Priyanka join राज्यसभा? Last time जब बात है कि अगर लोकसभा नहीं करना, because you want to have only one of the siblings in the Lok Sabha, mother is already there, son is already there, so daughter नहीं, तो राज्यसभा क्यों नहीं? To which one reporter who has covered Congress for a long time said that देखो गांधी परिवार, राज्यसभा इज अ लार्जेस्ट जो गांधी परिवार देती है लोगों को, अपने लिए नहीं रखती.
अभी उस लार्जेस्ट के सहारे ही है. अगर इनकी बातें सुन के हिमाचल से लड़ लेते तो हिमाचल में तो अभिषेक सिंघवी के साथ तो अच्छा नहीं हुआ. अब बताइए, और उसमें भी हम जाएंगे कि उसमें
I can't understand. Abhishek Singhvi was the
outsider candidate.
No, was the lawyer for Pratibha ji. So what happened? Didn't he see the signs? He's supposed to be this ace lawyer. Obviously, he's not done his research well.
नहीं, देखिए एट दैट टाइम संभवतः राहुल जी कैम्ब्रिज में थे, वो कैम्ब्रिज वाली ऑडियंस को एड्रेस भी कर रहे थे. इतने इंपॉर्टेंट लीडर है, और उस समय पर ये लोगों का प्लान था सोनिया जी को हिमाचल से लड़ाने का. वन पॉइंट ऑफ टाइम सुक्खू जी हैड प्रपोज्ड, एंड नाउ सी आई एम नॉट गिविंग यू कॉन्स्पिरेसी थियरीज. इट इज सेड दैट प्रतिभा जी इज क्लोजर टू प्रियंका एंड सुक्खू जी इज क्लोजर टू राहुल. एंड प्रतिभा जी में सारी प्रतिभाएं होने के बावजूद भी, उनके परिवार की सारी प्रतिभाएं होने के बावजूद भी, और विक्रमादित्य जी तो रो पड़े, उसके बावजूद भी उनको दरकिनार करके 1 साल से वो बोल रहे थे कि संगठन के साथ ठीक नहीं कर रहे सुक्खू जी. उसके बाद वो राम मंदिर के प्राण प्रतिष्ठा में भी गए, उन्होंने बोला कि ये कोई आरएसएस बीजेपी का इवेंट नहीं, यहाँ पे आना चाहिए.
They still didn't see the signs then.
पर स्मिता, कमिंग बैक टू वन क्वेश्चन व्हिच यू आस्क्ड अदिति, कि ऐसा क्यों करते हैं ये? देखिए, यही फंडामेंटल डिफरेंस ऑफ मोदी पॉलिटिक्स और बीजेपी टेम्पलेट ऑफ पॉलिटिक्स एंड कांग्रेस टेम्पलेट ऑफ पॉलिटिक्स इज दिस. मोदी जी अपने आप को क्या बोलते हैं? मैं प्रधान सेवक. ये क्या कहते थे? हम सरकार. सरकार का दायित्व जो ये फैमिली लेगेसी से आती है, और किसी भी फैमिली लेगेसी को जो करते हैं उनकी पॉलिटिक्स उठाओ, दे नेवर गिव दी जनता एवरीथिंग, दे गिव वेरी माइन्यूट कि सस्टेन करते रहे, और हमारे पास हाथ फैला के आए, फिर मैं उनको गारंटी ये दूंगा, मतलब पेपर पे मैं बोलूँगा कि आपको फूड सिक्योरिटी मिलेगा, मैं पेपर पे बोलूँगा मनरेगा मिलेगा. वेयर मोदी जीज अप्रोच इज कि मैं आपको आत्मनिर्भर बनाऊंगा. आप मेरे पास हाथ फैलाकर नहीं आएंगे, आपके पास जो 1 रुपया मैं भेजूंगा डीबीटी और जायम के माध्यम से, वो 1 रुपया पहुंच जाएगा. तो दिस मॉडल कि एक सोचता है संपन्न करो और एक सोचता है कि इनको निर्भर रखो, ये मॉडल है और इसीलिए उन्होंने उसको हमेशा गरीब रखा है, क्योंकि गरीब रखेंगे तो एनिग्मा लगेगा इनके परिवार का.
Okay, towards the end, I have one question which I'll ask both of you. You can decide what to do. One is this thing that there are many people I have met who say that that those who join the Congress party, who come from established families, they join those who join the BJP and they belong to established families, many of them do it अपने business को बचाने के लिए या अपनी ज़मीनों को बचाने के लिए, so that the administration is with you because you're considered close to the BJP. So whether it is in Rajasthan, whether it is in Uttar Pradesh, anywhere where there is where the BJP is in power, एक ये है. दूसरा is that अगर आप BJP join करते हो तो आपके ऊपर ED raids नहीं होंगे, फलाना नहीं होगा, washing machine, which you have defended in many television channels. Explain to me, have you met people who do these things?
I personally haven't. I mean, I can talk about myself. When I joined the BJP, the people that followed suit or sort of joined around the same time are Jitin Prasad ji. उनको किसी इंट्रोडक्शन की ज़रूरत नहीं है. RPN Singh ji, people of high credential. I'm talking about Congress, the people that joined from the Congress in Uttar Pradesh, more or less around the time.
एक वो photograph भी है ना of the boys, those who were around.
सचिन पायलट ही बचे
with उसमें सिर्फ सचिन पायलट बचे हैं उस फोटोग्राफ में, बाकी सब these boys club that was there around.
Young Turks कहते थे.
वो अभी भी उनको यंग टर्क्स कहा जाता है.
मैं तो अभी तो टीनेज टर्क हो गया फिर तो मैं, इस लिहाज से वी आर टीनेज टर्क. पर
in fact there's one article which I read that Amit Shah ji is only 6 years older to Rahul Gandhi, but he was never considered a youth icon or a youth leader, whereas Rahul Gandhi is still considered a youth leader.
नहीं, ये लुटियंस के चश्मे का कमाल है. लुटियंस का जो चश्मा है वो इस प्रकार का लेजी एनालिसिस भी करता है. I'll tell you the holes in this analysis. इसका मतलब हम वॉशिंग मशीन, चलिए ठीक है, बीजेपी वॉशिंग मशीन, आप लोग गंदे कपड़ों की दुकान क्यों बंद कर बैठे हो? कोई इनसे ये तो पूछे कि इनके यहाँ जो गंदे सो कॉल्ड गंदे कपड़े हैं ये तब तक गंदे नहीं लगते जब तक कि वो गंदे कपड़े निकल जाते हैं, फिर आपको उनकी गंदगी दिखाई देती है. और मिलिंद देवरा पे क्या केस था, जैन चौधरी पे क्या केस है, और ईडी सीबीआई मिसयूज की बात कर रहे हैं ना. तो मैं इनसे सिर्फ इतना पूछना चाहता हूँ, ईडी जब केजरीवाल पे कार्रवाई करे तब तो ये लोग तालियां बजा रहे थे. ईडी सोनिया जी पर कार्रवाई करे तो ईडी खराब हो जाती है. सुप्रीम कोर्ट चंडीगढ़ पे वर्डिक्ट दे तो तब तो सुप्रीम कोर्ट इज डूइंग राइट थिंग. सुप्रीम कोर्ट इसी ईडी पर वर्डिक्ट दे कि 14 पार्टियां गई, नो क्लेम्स आर ट्रू दैट इट इज विंडिक्टिव, यू कैन नॉट मेक दिस आर्ग्यूमेंट, तब सुप्रीम कोर्ट के वर्डिक्ट को नहीं मानना है. दिस इज लेजी एनालिसिस एंड दिस इज, वो कहते हैं ना, ताउम्र कांग्रेस यही गलती करती रही, धूल चेहरे पर थी, कांग्रेस आईना साफ करती रही. ये ब्लेम करना कि ये लालची है, ये बिकाऊ है, भाई लालची और बिकाऊ को रखते क्यों हो आप? इनको बुला बुला के टिकट क्यों दे देते हो?
Is it going to be an issue this time, do you think? Because in the last election, this whole thing about corruption, cleaning out corruption and things like that. Now that the BJP has fulfilled all their promises, which they had made, what more can the BJP tell its people? I mean, to say that economy bada karenge, jobs denge, that's a kind of amorphous thing. It's not 370. Triple Talaq, those are real things. CAA, NRC, those are real things. Now that BJP has fulfilled everything, how do you go to the people and say, what will we do?
But that's where they've gained the confidence of the people. I mean, so one of my favorite podcasts of yours is, your podcast with Sameer Saran. And I was lucky enough to go to Raisina also. Like, I think it was right after that was Raisina. I watched your podcast. Loved it. The kumbh of geopolitics and international politics and so on. Look at where we're going. Look at our growth trajectory. It's not, people are not missing it. Agar aap, if you talk about the so-called, intellectual class, so people that read, and gaon mein bhi, gaon dehaton mein bhi, people that read, they see where we're going. They see how we're poised to become the third largest economy in the next 5 years, right? Agar aap, if you talk about people who perhaps don't have that much of an understanding or don't, उनको फ्री राशन मिल रहा है, उनको तमाम और सुविधाएं मिल रही है. They've empowered women. आपको पता है जो उज्ज्वला योजना है या जो प्रधानमंत्री ग्रामीण आवास योजना है, the beneficiaries are all women, and honestly I feel very very happy about it. या राशन योजना है, the beneficiaries are all women. So there has been every cohort or class has been catered to. People are seeing the advantage of voting in the BJP again, voting in Modi ji again for whatever their own personal reasons may be. My reasons for loving my prime minister may be very, very different from perhaps your reasons, or someone sitting in one of my villages, or someone sitting in my शहर. सबके अपने अपने कारण हैं. But
Okay.
everybody is seeing the growth trajectory.
अब देखिए स्मिता जी, मोदी की गारंटी ये क्या है? 370 का संकल्प तब भी था जब हमारी 2 सीटें थी. राम मंदिर का संकल्प तब भी था जब 2 सीटें थी. कई परिदृश्य में भाजपा इतने बड़े मेजोरिटी से आएगी नहीं, हमने कभी संकल्प नहीं छोड़ा. जिस प्रकार से नारी शक्ति वंदन अधिनियम 30 सालों तक लटका रहा, उसको हमने करवाया, पार्लियामेंट में पास करवाया. नई संसद भवन बनाना, या बड़े बड़े जो ऑब्स्टिकल्स थे इस देश के सामने, उसको चुनौतियों को पार पड़ के उसको आगे बढ़ाना, तो ये मोदी की गारंटी है.
So it's going to be लाभार्थी वोट in 2024 also. क्या वो है?
मैं आपको बताता हूँ. राम लल्ला एंड गीता. अब सेकुलरवादी इसको कट करके आधा ना डाले. राम लल्ला और गीता का मतलब समझिए. आर फॉर राष्ट्रीय सुरक्षा, ए फॉर अर्थव्यवस्था, एम फॉर महिला, एल फॉर लाभार्थी, एल फॉर लीडरशिप, ए फॉर आत्मनिर्भर भारत, और गीता का मतलब है, और सारी चीज़ें कुरुक्षेत्र से ही डेवलपमेंट आजकल हो रही है हरियाणा की. गीता का मतलब है ग्रोथ, इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर, टेक्नोलॉजी एंड ये अपीजमेंट पॉलिटिक्स का एंड. तुष्टिकरण नहीं, संतुष्टिकरण. तो ये राम लल्ला और गीता का आशीर्वाद जिस पर रहेगा उसको 400 पार मिलनी है.
Okay. Now, let me just conclude in this. Everybody sees you day in and day out on television giving sound
With you
bites
most of the time.
with ANI and on
Can I
TV
share
channel.
one story?
Yeah, sure.
One personal story.
Sure.
And I know you will. I hope you'll keep it. You will not cut it.
No, nothing is cut, by the way, in this, unless, let me
I
just
want to-
clarify
हाँ.
that in the podcast, we don't edit out anything unless somebody has spoken about their son, daughter, wife without permission and their
Then
family
it is an
doesn't
issue.
want it.
Chalo.
Or if they have made a factual error and they want to correct it. Or third time we have checked it is if there was a court case that they were fighting, it was in court and they by mistake mentioned it, it's sub judice.
तो ये
they're not.
तीनों ही कैटेगरी में
ये
नहीं
तीनों
पड़ता,
नहीं,
तो आप
हाँ.
इसको रखेंगे.
हाँ.
जब मैं 10 रुपए की वो टिकट लेकर बस पकड़ कर आता था, तब ANI पे बाइट देना हमारे लिए बड़ी बात होती थी. मैं सोचता था कि कभी ANI मेरी बाइट ले ले. उस समय मेरी मुलाकात नवीन जी से हुई. नवीन जी को मैं बोलता था, नवीन भाई मेरी बाइट लिया करो आप. तो नवीन भाई बोलते थे, यार तू मेरा दोस्त है, मैं ट्राई करता हूँ, पर बड़ा मुश्किल है. तुम्हारे यहाँ पे जो कांग्रेस में सिस्टम है वो आपके लिए बड़ा वो मुझे विरोध करते थे कि ये ना दे बाइट, और बड़ा प्रेशर डालते थे बड़े ग्रुप्स पे, मीडिया पे. आप पे तो नहीं चलता था. किसी तरीके से नवीन भाई कोई ना कोई मुद्दे पे, कोई लीगल इशू पे, किसी तरीके पे चला लेते थे. मेरी बाइट लेकर चैनल को भेज देते थे. आज मैं जो भी हूँ स्मिता जी, मैं अपनी माता के परिश्रम से तो बना ही हूँ. मेरी माता जी ने जिस प्रकार से तहसीन और मेरा ख्याल रखा है व्हेन शी लॉस्ट हर हस्बैंड, व्हेन शी लॉस्ट हर फादर, बट एट दैट टाइम द मीडिया पीपल, रोहित सरदाना, स्मिता प्रकाश, ANI और ऐसे हजारों मीडिया पर्सन्स, गेस्ट कोऑर्डिनेटर्स जिन्होंने मुझ पे इन्वेस्ट किया, मुझ पे विश्वास जताया, मैं आजीवन इनका कभी भी उनका योगदान मेरे करियर में भूल नहीं सकता. इसलिए जब भी ANI होता है, मैं पार्टी का कॉल लेने से पहले ANI वालों का कॉल लेता हूँ सुबह. तो ये मैं केवल चाहता था, आई नो यू नेवर लाइक मी सेइंग दिस थिंग्स एंड यू आर ऑलवेज इन अ फिक्स कि यार कोई पार्टी वाला आपके ऐसे बोल देगा तो कांग्रेस वाले आपको बोलेंगे कुछ और. पर मैं आपको दिल से बताना चाहता हूँ कि टुडे वॉट एवर आई एम, इट इज़ बिकॉज ऑफ पीपल लाइक रोहित सरदाना, बिकॉज ऑफ मेनी अदर जर्नलिस्ट, नाविका, राहुल शिवशंकर एंड स्मिता प्रकाश.
Thank you so much. That's a very sweet thing to say. My question to you, Shehzad, was that, you know, when you come on TV channels and all, and, you know, you're defending your party, on the other side are people also who have to defend their party. So the fight becomes really, you know, very, very nasty. Now, I know of people who enjoy that because it's like, you know, a gladiator fight, you know, कि, ye jeeta, and everybody has their favorites, right? So, and I know for a fact that my mom, my masis, they were all like, you know, this guy was so good, this woman was so fantastic. But if I am on such a debate, रात को I'm still shaken. How do you cope with it?
देखिए, एक तो मैं हमेशा इस
कोई स्विच ऑफ नहीं कर सकता. I don't believe that that's possible. Can you?
एक्चुअली मैं हमेशा एक चीज़ में ट्राई करता हूँ विश्वास रखने का, कि जो भी मेरे सामने बैठा है, चाहे वो मेरे परिवार से हो या कोई अन्य दल से हो, मेरा केवल काम ये है कि उसका मैं शत्रु नहीं हूँ, ना वो मेरा शत्रु है। हम लोगों में मतभेद है, मनभेद नहीं होना चाहिए। तो मैं उसे कभी शत्रु की दृष्टि से देखता नहीं। हाँ, पर ये भी बात सही है कि देखिए कृष्ण जी ने सिखाया था, जहाँ बांसुरी से काम चले बांसुरी से, जहाँ सुदर्शन चक्र उठाना पड़े सुदर्शन चक्र से। मैं किसी चीज़ को पर्सनली नहीं लेता। जहाँ तक संभव है स्टूडियो में डिबेट ख़त्म तो अपना मतभेद उधर ख़त्म, मनभेद रखना नहीं है। अगर मुझसे भी कई बार मैं किसी को अपमानित करता हूँ, हो जाता है, निकल जाता है, इंसान हूँ। आई ट्राई टू कॉल दैट पर्सन अप एंड आई हैव कॉल्ड अप मेनी पीपल एंड आई सेड कि ये मुझे नहीं बोलना चाहिए था एंड आई एम वेरी सॉरी एंड आई होप यू कैन फॉरगिव मी एंड नेक्स्ट टाइम आई विल स्टिल फाइट यू fiercely on air but I will not try to say this thing। तो मैं कोशिश करता हूँ कि I leave that aside। बट एक दो लोग जो है उन्होंने गाली देना ही अपना टीवी डिबेट का स्टाइल बना दिया है। तो मुझे लगता है दे शुड ऑल्सो सी कोर्स करेक्शन, क्योंकि मुझे तो अफेक्ट नहीं होता। आई डोंट टेक इट पर्सनली। दिस इज ऑल वी आर डूइंग समथिंग फॉर द नेशन और फॉर आवर पार्टी।
But is it possible that if somebody is mean and nasty to you because you have a certain political ideology, can you put it aside and...
Smita, I was talking to him about it yesterday and I was like, boss, I got to learn from you. जैसे जो ये कह रहे हैं, I think he's become so stoic and so professional in that. I'm not a spokesperson. I'm a ground worker and I've always considered myself a person of the field. I refused to get on Twitter for 3 years. Yeah, 3 years. I was just not, because I just found it such a vicious place to be in.
Yeah.
You know? And even when I then finally got on Twitter and professional and this and that, karna padega, I would just be like in and out, you know? And even with YouTube and like other things, like interviews and stuff, I just, my poor heart cannot take the comments. I just don't even read the comments. And he was like,
it's true. There are many people who do that, who've decided कि ये मैं नहीं कर सकती हूँ।
पर स्मिता जी एक चीज़ मैं बोलूँ आपको, और ये क्योंकि स्टोइक का उन्होंने बोला, तो स्टोइसिज्म एक फिलॉसफी है। हाउ somebody abuses you is their way of doing it. How you react is in your control. I can never stop Smita praising me or abusing.
But yeah, you know, Shehzad.
But देखिए मोदी जी इसमें बहुत,
you can respond or you can react.
Yeah.
So it's a very thin line.
Yeah.
And more often than not, our instant reaction is to, or our instinct is to, get angry. Like there is a one spokesperson वो करके smile करता रहता है. मेरे को इतना गुस्सा चढ़ता है उसकी शक्ल देख के. I don't care what he said, but I just want to put him down at that side because of that Cheshire. No names.
Yeah, no names.
Okay. So,
but Smita, do you?
I was like, hata wo smile. I'm not saying anything funny about it, and something I'm saying is so serious.
Yeah.
Why the hell do you have to? But that's his tactic.
Yeah.
To get under my skin.
Yeah.
So now I've learned, that, okay, there was another person who's no longer a spokesperson for the party because he revealed something.
Yeah.
Now, that guy's entire idea was to get at me and to put me down as a journalist who's got a bias.
I also know who that is.
It would just start off with that. I think, first, concentrate on what I'm saying, na? Don't, tumhare bias, tumhara ye, refute me on what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So it's so irritating.
But Smita, why do you want anybody else's validation? That is the thing. See, if you have confidence and you know that your conscience is clear, you should not seek validation. और अगर ऐसा validation मोदी जी सबसे सीख करते, तो वो गाली उनके obstacle बन जाते हैं।
रविशंकर या सदगुरु नहीं हो जाती अगर मुझे कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता किसी ने क्या।
नहीं,
वो
मैं ये नहीं कह रहा कि फर्क नहीं पड़ना चाहिए।
इंजीनियरिंग करके
मैं ये नहीं कह रहा फर्क नहीं पड़ना चाहिए। फर्क नहीं पड़ना is a different thing। और किसी की गाली को या तो आप पत्थर के रूप में ले लो जो आपको चोट करता है, या उसको अपने सीढ़ी का एक स्टोन बना के, स्टेपिंग स्टोन बनाकर आगे चलो। जो काम करता है उसी को गाली पड़ती है। अगर आप इररिलेवेंट होती तो वो आपको टैग, ट्वीट, गाली देना काम नहीं करते। तो एक बात नोट कीजिए कि आप रेलेवेंट है इसलिए गाली देते हैं।
One more thing, that some people are so nasty that on TV debates and on WhatsApp, they will chat with you and they'll be sweet, and then they troll you on social media. And then when you meet them in real life, hi,
oh my God,
and
especially in the Congress party, जो भी debates and everything
पर ऐसे लोगों तो और प्यार से मिलना चाहिए।
तो मिलते ही है ना।
अब ये बाल में जो काले हैं वे वैसे सफेद है, यहाँ तक पहुँच के अब नहीं होता ये हिपोक्रेसी।
वो उसका कर्तव्य है, आपको जो वो कह रहा है वो उसका कर्तव्य और धर्म है, वो कहेगा, उससे आपको अपसेट नहीं होना है।
पर ये पॉलिटिक्स में हो सकता है ना?
नहीं, ये पॉलिटिक्स में नहीं है। मुझे बताइए एक बात कि कृष्ण जी ने जिस प्रकार से वो गए थे ना, याचना करने गए थे कि भाई मत लड़, युद्ध मत कर, सुलह कर ले, 5 गांव दे दे पांडवों को, सब मामला सॉर्ट आउट हो जाएगा। नहीं सुने वो, तब जाकर आपको जो कदम उठाना है। अर्जुन को भी तो संकोच था कि मैं अपने कजिन्स पे कैसे वार करूं, पर उनको बताया ना कि ये पर्सनल नहीं है, आपको जो करना है। वो अपना धर्म निभा रहे, आप अपना धर्म निभाइए, और धर्म निभाने में अगर कोई कुछ आपको बोलता है विच अपसेट्स यू, यू हैव टू स्वॉलो इट, दिस इज हाउ इट इज। शिव जी भी तो निगल लेते हैं ना। तो मुझे लगता है कि विष निगल के उसमें से अमृत देना है।
Do you just go on the treadmill to take out your anger?
आपको अपनी लाइफ में ऐसी चीज़ें रखनी चाहिए जो आपको अपने पर्पस के पास ले जाती है। मेरा पर्पस क्या है? मेरा पर्पस, मेरी तो कुछ संतान नहीं है, ना होने वाली है, ना मेरी शादी होने वाली है, तो मैं अपने लिए तो नहीं कर रहा, ना मैं अपने परिवार को संपन्न करने के लिए कर रहा हूँ। मेरा एक लार्जर सोशल गोल है, लार्जर पॉलिटिकल गोल है कि इस देश को कहाँ ले जाना है। अगर किसी ने मुझे बोल दिया कि तुम तुतलाते हो, या किसी ने बोल दिया कि तुम अवसरवादी हो, हाउ डज इट अफेक्ट माई लार्जर गोल जो मुझे देश के लिए करना है? वो उसकी व्यू पॉइंट है। बोलो, डेमोक्रेटिक देश है, दो गाली। तुतलाता हूँ फिर भी भाजपा भेजती है, क्या उखाड़ लिया आपने मेरा? तो मैं इसको मेरे फाइनल गोल के साथ क्या मैच करता है? नहीं, डज नॉट।
अच्छा, टेल मी वन थिंग, व्हाट अबाउट you, your husband being in the Congress and you being in the BJP? How does that equation work at home now? लड़ते नहीं हो आप dinner table पे?
Unfortunately, we got divorced.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
That's
I
all
didn't
right.
know that.
That's all right. That's all right. So how it played out is, and I wish him all the best. It was not at all a vicious separation. How it played out is when I decided to join the Bharatiya Janata Party, and being a young MLA, I wanted to be a part of the India growth story, and I decided very early on that, bhai, I want to be under the leadership of Modi ji, and in my state under the leadership of Yogi ji. He was my chief minister, seeing his work and so on, and part of the government. So खैर, जब मैंने भारतीय जनता पार्टी ज्वाइन करने का फैसला किया, at that point my husband at that time, Angad, was supportive. भाई, तुम्हारा अपना प्रोफेशन है, करियर है, स्टेट है, और मेरा अपना है. What happened towards the end, during ticket distribution, मेरी टिकट हो गई थी, I was preparing. Priyanka Gandhi says to my ex-husband कि you talk smack about her. You I'm sorry, I'm trying not to use like cursed language. So you say all these nasty things about her. चरित्र पर, ठीक है ना? About how she is and this and that, and I'll give you a ticket. And if you don't, I'm not going to give you a ticket. Sitting MLA of the Congress party.
No, I totally believe this, and that's why people, when they say that these Gandhis are very empathetic, they're very kind, they are always saying.
So did he get a ticket because of that, you think?
He didn't get a ticket. He
came for 3 months.
हमारी अपनी पारिवारिक जो भी दिक्कतें समस्याएं थी, a lot of it caused by the Congress party. So I would have people calling on बिल्कुल on his behalf, like not him, कि come back to Congress, it's going to affect your marriage. And I'm like, since when have you become an advocate for my marriage? Ministers and stuff. So some of them are told off. But khair, so what they told my ex-husband is, matlab Priyanka Gandhi, what she told my ex-husband is that you say all these things about her, nasty things about her, negative things about her, on record. Do a press conference and everything, and हम आपकी ticket सुनिश्चित करते हैं. And he was like, listen, we may or may not be on whatever terms we may or may not be on, and वो सब अपनी जगह है, but this is I've not been raised to talk like that about women, especially not my wife or my family, and ये हमारा पारिवारिक मामला है. Not going to talk about her, which I really respect him for that.
तो कांग्रेस
तो टिकट काट दी.
केवल कांग्रेस नॉर्थ साउथ नहीं, केवल जातियों में नहीं, पति पत्नी और भाइयों में भी लड़ाई लगाती है. मतलब अब आजकल तो नॉर्थ वर्सेस साउथ कर रहे हैं, जातियों में भी विभेद कर रहे हैं, तो पति पत्नी और
Smita, like, I mean, sitting here now, like, God has been so kind. I'm like, I'm sitting with Smita Prakash, like, it's things have turned out, but at that time, Angad lost his father when he was very, very young, fought it on his own. His mother was an MLA, then he became an MLA, and he's had his fair share of struggle. He came from the Congress family. I lost, it was just two young kids trying to make it in the world. They could have been a little supportive, तो टू गो बैक टू योर पॉइंट ऑफ ये जो पूरा अपना है ना कि मोहब्बत की दुकान or whatever the hell they're calling it, right? I mean, they could have been a little bit. Why? Like just because we can't fight back and we're two younger kids trying to make it in the world, make it in politics. It's hard enough as it is, and eventually it just tore us apart, and here we are.
But Congress has done this with Jagan Reddy's sister also. We
Yeah.
made the candidate from Karunakaranji's daughter in Kerala. Instantly they gave ticket to Karunakaran's son.
Yeah.
Congress itni, the right word for Congress is it's a very
Vicious.
vicious, शातिर और devious party है. वो हिजाब बहुत अच्छा डाल देती है, पर हिजाब के पीछे जो चेहरा है उसका बड़ा खतरनाक है, बड़ा विष भरा है. एंड ये चलिए होता है, डिफरेंसेस बिटवीन ब्रदर्स नॉट अ न्यू थिंग. सौगत रॉय एंड तथागत रॉय, सौगत रॉय इज इन टीएमसी, तथागत रॉय इज इन बीजेपी. ये होता है, पर टू इंजीनियर दिस काइंड, एज अदिति सेइंग, टू इंजीनियर डिफरेंसेस, दैट कांग्रेस कैन डू. और वैसे बताते हैं कि हम परिवार में बड़ा विश्वास रखते हैं.
Tell me one thing, is Tehseen joining your party at all?
देखिए ऐसा है कि तहसीन
Tehseen
पूनावाला
has come 3 times on the podcast. Shehzad has not come. Shehzad comes almost every day on the on the ANI news feed.
Yeah.
So, but both of them, Tehseen wants to come on the ANI news feed. Shehzad wants to come on the podcast.
देखिए ऐसा है कि तहसीन पूनावाला के जो व्यूज़ कुछ साल पहले थे जिस पे मैं उनको बताता था, मुझे लगता है कि उन्होंने कई व्यूज़ को मॉडरेट किया है. पर उनकी प्रॉब्लम ये है कि मुझे देश में परिवार दिखता है, उनको परिवार में देश दिखता है. जब तक ये दोनों रिकनसाइल नहीं होते कि आप अपने परिवार में ही देश को देखते हैं, मतलब परिवार में, मतलब उनको राहुल गांधी में कोई बुराई नज़र नहीं आती. उनको लगता है राहुल गांधी ठीक है, इर्द गिर्द वाले लोग ख़राब हैं. तो मुझे लगता है जब तक वो उस वर्ल्ड व्यू से रहेंगे तो वो उस 90s की पॉलिटिक्स में अटके हुए हैं. और भाजपा जो पॉलिटिक्स कर रही है वो आगे के 1000 वर्ष के लिए कर रही है. हम जेन जी की बात कर रहे हैं, तो वो डिस्कनेक्टेड ईरा में है. जब तक डिस्कनेक्टेड ईरा में रहेंगे तो, और जहाँ तक सवाल है, मुझे लगता है वो कांग्रेस में भी नहीं है ऑफिशियली. आई डोंट थिंक ही विल जॉइन पॉलिटिक्स ऑफिशियली. तो जैसे
he has great ambitions of being in the Lok Sabha, not just Rajya Sabha nomination.
Yeah.
He was from a
आजकल
political.
तो अमेठी से राहुल जी के चांसेस कम है उनके, तो मुझे पता नहीं. रॉबर्ट जी भी ऐसी ही कल्पनाएं करते हैं. ये ठीक है, कल्पना करने पे कोई
Does
GST
politics
नहीं है.
frustrate you, Aditi, at times?
It's a tough job. It's a tough job. And अभी जो हम बात कर रहे थे, like what trolling and all of that. Like I wanted to ask you also, like, do you get a lot of those like women centric trolls?
Of course.
So they really bother me. मतलब more than anything else. And वो जो, yeah, I don't know. It's one thing to deal with trolls. कि जैसे मान लो तुतलाते हो, या मान लो अगर मैं भी कुछ गलत बोलूं, सलत बोलूं, whatever, that's one thing. पर वो जो महिला सेंट्रिक वाले जो होते हैं ना,
No, some of them are very ugly.
Yeah.
There was, in fact, I mentioned
mine
it in
too,
one
like
of my
this-
podcasts also, that when you were talking about Rohit Sardana, so during the COVID times, that there was this death list which was made, those who should die of COVID. And you know, so ये ऐसे तो काफी सारे होते हैं that this person should die, and you know these things list होता था. It never bothered you, right? Because you think anybody is going to die because of a list? No.
Yeah.
But then, you know, suddenly when we saw that list, so Rohit passed away.
Yeah.
And at that time I was in the hospital, and you know, and you're taking that medication and it's playing on your brain, right?
Yeah.
And Rohit passed away. 2 others were in the ICU in that list, and I was number 9 on that list.
Oh,
and
goodness.
you know, it started playing on my mind.
Yeah.
When actually it shouldn't have, and it started playing on my mind that maybe I am.
Yeah.
Maybe this list somewhere is happening. It's coming true or something. Of course, now when I look back and I say, how stupid was I to think that? It's probably because of the medications that, you know, we
Of
were doing that.
course, absolutely.
But like, you know, lots of people have switched off their mentions. I
Yeah.
know of actresses who don't read their social media posts.
I
who don't,
stopped. I
who
told you,
don't,
I just stopped.
because they say
Yeah.
that we can't. Because,
Yeah.
you know, women are told about how we look.
Yeah.
More than anything
Exactly.
else, how we look.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So,
No, men get body shamed a lot as well. You'd be
why
surprised.
you body shame, man? You're so fit, Shehzad.
जीशान को बोला 10 किलो घटा के और तब राहुल जी से मिलने मिलेगा. बताइए बेचारा वो
That
जीशान
can't
बोल
be
रहा है
true.
कि he said it to ANI only.
हाँ,
Like,
अच्छा.
fight में.
Oh
उसको बोला 10 किलो घटा के आओ तब राहुल जी से मौका मिला.
हाँ.
Can you believe
Look, even I am body shamed. People say all kinds of things about me also, because once I had gone to Ujjain Mahakal Lok and I was bare chested.
Yeah.
So people make fun of that also. Now I'm not going to look at how my pecs are looking in a pious place like that. So these kinds of things are made. But again, the only way to deal with this is of course it will hurt you for a moment. It should hurt you for a moment, but you can't allow that to define you. Otherwise, you
No, of
allow
course
them to
not.
win.
Of
Yeah.
course,
You
absolutely.
can't allow that to
Absolutely.
define you.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
basically, develop a thick skin.
Yeah.
But we're not crocodiles. How do you have such a thick skin? कहीं ना कहीं these things, and I think also अगर sensitivity इतनी lose कर जाओ तो अपना essence भी तो निकल जाता है ना.
And for all of the other gyan, you have to watch Sadhguru's podcast, which I'm told is coming up. So
Yeah.
for this chunk of the discussion.
Yes, for this
A
chunk of
lot
the
of it
discussion,
that I've
absolutely.
spoken about it is
Yeah,
that, and
yeah.
he does say that.
Does.
Yeah.
He does say that about anxiety,
Yeah.
because it's a big issue among especially the younger generation.
Yeah.
How to deal with anxiety,
Yeah,
and he
yeah.
does speak about it.
Yeah.
So which will come after this episode.
Smita,
Yeah.
life
So-
is fickle. People are dying at the age of 35.
Yeah.
I've lost friends at the age of 30, 35.
Yeah.
My father passed away at the age of 40.
Okay.
If you're going to hold up these small things, you're not going to enjoy the moment. So enjoy the moment. Live life like a king, like a Shehzada.
Yeah.
Don't behave like a Shehzada. Just live like a Shehzada. And good and bad, take
I
both of
can't
them.
think of a better way to end this podcast. Wishing you both all the best
Thank
and
you.
a lot of
Thank
success.
you for having us.
Lot of success in your careers
Thank
and happiness in your life.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you
you.
so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching or listening in to this edition of the ANI podcast with Smita Prakash. Do like or subscribe in whichever channel you have seen this or heard this. Namaste. Jai Hind.